Hey everyone, and welcome to another session of the Dales, where we are introducing another character today at a particularly quiet time of the story. We have completed an incredibly long leg of our story that began with the rescue of several Bedine slaves from the Zentarim's clutches. We had a conundrum about how to get them home and decided to guide them through a fairy-haunted forest within the border forest. And then the danger really began as we entered into the world's largest desert, a desolate badlands called Anarok, before finding ourselves joining the Zentarum periodically, being betrayed by the Zentarum, and emerging from the Underdark with an incredibly large amount of money, or at least assets in the form of mithril and adamantine. But in order to introduce our new character, we should first reflect back on a character that's been here for a while and find out a little bit more about Finnick Longears. So, Finnick, tell us about the community that you come from. Even long before you were born, what were your people doing? Did they graze? Did they farm? Are you all subject to some strange magical experiment that created your race?
Sorry, I thought we'd have just gone over this. I'm sorry, my bad. Wasn't quite.
Oh, did a character said that we?
No, but I thought because we skipped it, I kind of forgot about it.
Oh, right. Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, let's address it now.
I guess farmers from the Fae.
Excellent. So, like, were you born on a different world? Actually, born in the Feywild, and you slipped into here, or did your people settle here in the real world from the Feywild?
Finnick sees himself as like an explorer, going to new worlds to learn languages. And in the Fae, he met a dragon who gave him the drake he summons. But it's too
nice
to remain in the material world, so he can only summon it every so often from the Fae.
That's really cool. Did you have to give anything in return, or was the gift apparently without anything in return?
The gift was to raise the drake, because Finnick's always been a dragon person, into dragons, and searching for them his whole life.
All right. So there's this Fey dragon, and she's entrusted you with one of her eggs, with one of her children?
Yeah.
Absolutely magical. Why did she need it taken out of the Feywild in the first place? Why did she need it taken away? Why not raise it herself?
It was more seen as, because Finnick was young and exploring the Feylands, that he was seen as worthy of the egg.
Yes, absolutely. Not corrupted by the world, and pure in spirit, just as the dragon is, as a spirit dragon. That's very cool. So what were some of the first adventures? Have you been to other worlds, or is the Feywild and Faerun the only worlds you've visited?
Just Faerun and the Feywilds. His first adventures would have been just with some low-level adventurers hunting goblins. This is why his favourite enemy is goblins.
All right. Did the goblins do anything in particular, or were they just being goblins?
It's that usual low-level dungeon crawling that tends to be filled with goblins.
Excellent. Well, you and your party went towards a mountain fortress called the Castle of the Cat, where a rather culturally developed group of goblins, of three tiers of goblins, hobgoblins, and bugbears, live in a communal society, each benefiting from each other's skills. They were, however, resisting the rule of law and interfering with trade. What tactics did your party use to dislodge this rather advanced society of goblins?
Finnick's more on the stealthy side, so we've probably been sneaking in and taking out the leaders to hopefully dissolve the horde.
Excellent. It worked very effectively, and instead of killing 100 goblins, you only had to kill 3, plus a few who got in the way. and this caused their government to collapse. It was held together by a leader from each of the three sub-races, and with them gone, they went back to being individual tribes, racially divided, and a few of the hobgoblins went and joined the Tiger Clan, a monastery up in the mountains. Okay, so that was pretty successful. It turns out that the castle belongs to an individual who doesn't have the capacity to pay you back for what you've done. Does that matter?
Not really. Finnick will take his payment in knowledge or another language learnt.
Oh, absolutely. They would be. They think that that's an excellent payment, and she informs you that she actually purchased the castle for a song. So this is really appropriate that you're taking a story as payment for clearing it out because she bought it literally for a song. Um, anyway, the rest of your party probably doesn't see it quite so genially the way you do. That you're like, you mean we like cleared out a castle, assassinated some lords. Frederick lost his arm, and our compensation is you're going to sing for us. Maybe that's what splits the party apart. Do you think?
Probably because Finnick's not really a big fan of gold. Well, he'll take it if it's offered, but it's not like his goal to achieve wealth.
What is your goal then?
He's more out for the adventures, the stories, the excitement. Gold's
Very
just
good.
there to help, but it's not really necessary.
How has your story been so far? How would you rate it or judge it?
I mean, what we've done so far in the campaign?
Yeah, like Finnick's story. Like if he wants to experience and live stories, is he still bored? Is he optimistic or reflective?
I suppose after we just left the Underdark, he's excited because the Underdark was a bit boring for him.
Very good. He's back out in the daylight, can smell the flowers and feel the air on his ears. Okay. Do you have any ambitions that you would like to fulfill?
He would like to tame some, meet a real dragon. Like an ancient dragon, I mean.
All right. Well, that's achievable because this is the year of rogue dragons, and there are more dragons being spotted this year than in any time in recorded history. So I suppose that's a good thing.
Should be exciting.
All right. And Sildarin Stormblessed. What culture do you come from? Your parents, your grandparents. What was life like for them?
Is an elf hailing from Evermeet.
Ah, wow! All the way from Evermeet. What's life like growing up? Essentially, when you live in heaven.
In heaven. Well, I sort of view the character as fairly headstrong and wild and uncontrolled or unconstrained, I guess. And so it was a bit of a wayward child, and ultimately resulting in his apprenticeship, or at least being sort of given over to the priests of the elven god of storms. Effectively, I can't remember exactly what the name of that thing is.
Don't priests have better things to do than raise children?
Well, you always need new priests, I guess. Not as a child, more as a coming of age. So
right.
Rather than spending time in libraries or drill halls, he went to study with the priests. Though I guess it would have been not a lot of book learning and more sort of spending time in the world.
Did you find your recklessness and impulsiveness, at least compared to some of the other elves, to be an asset within the temple, or was it did it just get you into trouble there as well?
Within the temple, I would say so. Probably less so with perhaps other more regimented elements of society, which is probably why he left at a relatively young age to sort of make his way in the world and see the sights, if you will. Ride the wind.
Did you consider this epic paradise to be essentially just too boring, so safe and cut off from the rest of the world?
Fundamentally, yes. I was looking for much more interesting things, more to experience in life than, as you say, the relatively safe and stale island life.
There's thousands of miles of journey if you travel overseas, but Evermeet also has gates. Often one way you can leave from Evermeet going someplace, but you can't get back to Evermeet that way. Um, did you cross the sea, or did you travel magically?
I envisioned it more magical travel to this part of the world, kind of the Cormanthor, Mithranor, Cormyr sort of Moonsea
Excellent.
area, I guess.
Excellent. It's likely you went through the Feywild rather than opening a portal directly, which would just be dangerous. Instead, they'll use a multi-point system where you go from Evermeet up into the Feywild and travel through the Feywild and then exit at a different point and come out within, as you say, Cormanthor or the Dales or something. What are some of the adventures, for want of a better word? What are some of the experiences that you might have witnessed during that travel in that strange and unfamiliar place, which is, I guess, not that different to Evermeet, but I was going to say a little more magical, a little less magical, just different. It's not protected so much. It's a lot more wild, a lot more fey as well.
Right, fair. Yeah, good question. I never really considered that part of the journey. I was more focused on sort of what experiences and adventures, I guess, in and around these lands upon arriving back in the realms.
Sure. All right. Well, a series of whimsical things with witches and centaurs and unicorns were probably less memorable than what happened when you got here. And what did happen when you found yourself doing the reverse of the retreat 20 years ago or thereabouts? 90% of the elves left this forest, left this world to go to Mithranor. Go to Evermeet. You've come back in the opposite direction to find an abandoned forest, empty. The tree houses have been overrun and reclaimed by nature. The dark elves have come up from the underdark and taken a lot of what the elves constructed, and the goblins have taken much of what's left. What are your emotions when you walk among the ruins of one of the great elven civilizations?
Sadness, I would think, certainly, but also probably a sense of excitement as well to be kind of out in the hustle and the bustle and experiencing, what the real world has to offer.
Yeah, well, that's really good. All right. So how do you have any? You've seen the world and you've seen the way it is. I know that you as a player don't necessarily know exactly what's going on, but does your character have any kind of broad ambitions that or things that are important to them?
Being sort of a free spirit, and I guess in a sense, in an effort to come up with a concept that would at least mesh partway into the story.
Sure.
I figured it would be thematic, both in terms of the adherence to the sort of the wildness of the storms and the tempest. Free spirited individual, that the sort of the tyranny of sort of the Bane resurfacing would be sort of morally repugnant or antithetical to my sort of worldview. So
Excellent.
interested in opposing that, and I guess also just as an elf, as you say, sort of with the retreat, always interested in the ruins of Mithranor and what might be hidden there or what would have been lost there.
All right. Well, the winds blow you to the feet of the people who are the movers and shakers of what's going on around here. There's been a handful of individuals that have made a name for themselves recently, and they've just returned to civilization. They've just returned to the settlement of Dagger Falls. Dagger Falls is a town of about 2,000 people. It's walled, and it's a trade meet where two trade routes intersect. And there hasn't been much trade for the past 2 years, or even the past 4 years. But all the same, this is an important trade route, and so it gets it's got a fairly cosmopolitan environment in spite of its remote setting. Anyway, you managed to meet with these people that have liberated slaves and have started to upset the economy with their purchases. And I might turn to the rest of the group. How should we introduce this new character? Should it just be a case of, hey, I heard you're doing really good, and you need someone to help you spend that money, or
Always happy to help somebody spend somebody else's money.
exactly right. It's lots of friends that way.
Or you can hear that we're about to get ready to go somewhere, and you want to go.
Yeah, in my mind, I sort of envisioned that, having heard of this group that was sort of making life difficult for the Centaurum and, opposing forces that I, too, have been attempting to oppose in my own small way, sort of kind of going looking for them, and I guess hopefully eventually catch up to them.
Didn't you say we all leveled up when we came out of the Underdark? We're like level 9, right?
Yeah, I think you should have. Yeah. I don't recall. Yeah.
I thought I heard something of that nature.
It would make sense. When was the last time we leveled?
For the Underdark?
Or did? Oh no! Wait a minute. We just leveled just while we were still like within the mines, didn't we? In between no, not yet. No, in between being besieged, basically, in between the betrayal, shortly after the betrayal. That was like only like 2 sessions ago. So no, we haven't leveled. No.
I was going to say Carrick probably would have logged it.
Yeah.
I'll be trying.
Yeah, good idea. All right. So, how public knowledge is it that you're now rich? Is it you don't tell anyone?
It's not. Unless they get it out, like we're gonna get mugged. We need to keep it. We made it to the Underdark with our gear. We don't have to start whipping it out here.
Well, your return is quite a period of celebration for the town of Daggerdale, Dagger Falls, Daggerdale, the region, and they're really excited to hear about what happened to the Badine women and any events that have occurred since then. And we've seen them since then, though, haven't we? We came through here, made some stuff, and went again. So we're coming and going a lot recently, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
We were here not so long ago. So I guess with that in mind, the celebration wouldn't be quite so enthusiastic, or at least it'd only last a day or two. And then we'd be ready to pack up and head south to try to liaise with these dwarves and get them on side. Is that what comes next?
I think we may make some better equipment for our new friend. I'm not sure if they've been introduced.
Not yet. No.
Okay.
No.
When they are introduced, we may as well make some gear on par with ours.
Is there anybody?
That'll take time, and it'll interfere with your negotiations.
But I think that should be up for the debate. But are there men that we could start creating an army of more than just ourselves? Like, could we put together a platoon, a company? Is there?
Short answer is no, strangely enough. And there are 2 reasons for that. First of all, you don't have men. So you can't just go around to the local serfs and say, come and join my banners. That's illegal for one thing. and it's also just not really the spirit of things around here. People have been they fight every day of their lives. They fight against wolves, they fight against bandits, they fight against drow, and people tend to defend their own territory, their own homes around here in Daggerdale, and they can't afford to send their sons or even their daughters or their old men off because they need these people to look after their farms, and if they don't, the werewolves are going to take the weak. So it's very hard to empty this land of warriors, to muster people, unless you've got a real reason. Like making a standing army, that ain't a reason. Going and stopping an invading force coming down from Moonseed, then these people will come out, and they'll come out without even being called. But for now, they don't have the interest, and they don't have the numbers. And the second point, which is related to not having the numbers, is the fact that mercenaries are in really, really high demand right now. Cormier is about to enter a civil war. They are paying a premium for sellswords. The Zentarum will hire anyone who's got a bit of experience, and anyone who doesn't either, and give them a spear when they're 13 years old. So anyone who wanted to join a military already has. There are ways of finding them. There are people that live out in the hills, little bandit companies that might, be forgiven, and these bandits could then work for us. And an example of those is in the mercenary bands thing. Where are they? The Iron Vultures is typical of such a band, or maybe a little bit atypical because they're veterans. But here's a bunch of guys that used to serve in the Cormerian military. They can't anymore because they ran away from battle. They deserted, and they were going to get killed, but they deserted instead of getting killed. And instead of now surrendering and being executed, they've decided to turn to banditry. They've kidnapped a bunch of women off the roads, and they've taken a couple of orcs and made wives out of these hostages. And started very small families up there in the mountains. So if we were amiable to introducing men like that into our cause, then they are available. But we can't just say, all right, guys, we're offering a whole bunch of money for soldiers, come and join us, because these people already have jobs.
Alrighty. So I say we get on the road as soon as possible then. The longer we're here, Zentharum has spies. Every day we're here, they're reporting back that we're here. And the faster they'll be able to figure out what we're doing and trying to reclaim their stuff. So we need to be on the move until we can secure things.
Is it like wagons and wagons of metal? Is that what you guys are hauling around?
We have bags of holding, thank God.
And near 500 pounds of mithril and adamantine.
Yeah, we've got 2 bags of holding full of that stuff, haven't we?
Yep.
Because just so much of it.
I don't think we should be leaving at any of it. If we should bring it with us till we set up shop somewhere. Unless you want to put a small cache somewhere just as a reserve if we get wasted, but
if we're like this, stash them, we've got a warehouse that we own in Daggerfall.
That's gonna be robbed.
It can be, but no one knows what's in there.
Yeah, but they know we're back, and you're the person that betrayed us was part of your party and knows where everything is. So
yeah, true.
It's only a matter of time.
Guard,
Okay, yeah, but you can do guards, but they're gonna be with what we're gonna be potentially putting there. It's too easy. I mean,
put like a dire wolf or something in there.
Yeah, I don't
Giant
know.
scorpion.
Also arcane locked, but they could just blow a hole in the side.
Exactly.
But the thing is also the town is super anti-Zentarum.
Thieves get through anywhere.
Yeah, but
they're not gonna raid the village. They're gonna come through and do it. If it is, the prize is as valuable as what we have. They're gonna put a bounty on it for sure.
There are
No.
other properties available if you'd like something a little more secure.
I don't think anything's secure enough for the value of what we have, unfortunately.
I'm inclined to agree. Like, if you want to, you'd want to purposefully build something, right? You know, put
I'm
it
a
in
dwarf. I don't like dwarves don't trust shit.
No.
Whatever you have,
Smart
it's
move.
not. It's not. Yeah, like it's more safer on in our party under our guard until we get somewhere that we're gonna call camp and start liquidating it. Then
But think of it.
here.
Think of it this way: you're missing out on the opportunity to have an adventure where you recover the treasure that was stolen from you by thieves.
If you don't want to listen to thousands of years of dwarves' wisdom and protecting their hoard, that's
I can. I have a flexible
that's why we have a
infusion.
cart. We got even a cart and horses. Let's be using that. And then if we get robbed, they could be taking that, and not that they would not be knowing about the bags of holding.
We do have a cart in our shed. If we want, I can. Yeah, there's repeatable infusions and bag of holdings on that list. Let me replicate magic item. Using this infusion, you replicate a particular magic item. You can learn the infusion multiple times. Each time you do so, choose a magic item you can make with it, picking from the replicable items table.
I assume with some restrictions.
The only thing I would recommend is if you wanted to, leave some here, start selling it, and work out a deal with the governor of Dagger Falls and setting up some mithril trading shops so that we would be able to get the money back off, or make a percentage deal. If they sell it, we get this much of a cut. We turn some to gold, but I wouldn't be. We put the gold in the cart as a proxy, and then you can help increase the. You can help increase the economy of Dagger Falls through the money, and then that would send false trails. People would be coming here and not paying attention to us, and they wouldn't be knowing how much we have and how much Dagger Falls has. So that would be hide it in plain sight and under commerce. And if sellswords are so valuable, I'm sure the materials to make fine armor is high valuable, and then the king of whoever Dagger Falls would be down for cutting us some deal of managing the trade if he could see some of that penny, and I'm sure all the merchants would be happy as well. And then we'd have our catch-22, if you would. If we get robbed, we would still have this Dagger Falls stash that's being liquidated and sold and traded, and we'd have monies here to be managed. You're gonna ask a thief, yeah, but I mean, you got a thief. No, but you got the woman that knows about the warehouse, so we're going back to where a thief can just come in and take it.
She's not allowed.
I can.
I get it, but you got professional. My whole point is you got your party member that knows exactly where the warehouse is, knows how you guys think, knows you're probably going to stash them there. So where would you send your thieves? And a bunch of peasants that you just hired as guards isn't going to be really. If this stuff is as valuable as you say, it's not going to be. So why not turn it into commerce and make a trade with the guy and have them actively protecting it and selling it and giving us a piece of the money in the trade, so then you'd have active commerce here. There's so much. It's immeasurable how much there is. So if we're going to leave any, I think my whole point is if you leave any, my gut's telling me it's going to get stolen. So why not turn it into commerce, and then you would have at least a business to fall back on, a means of equity. It's not like you don't have.
Go ahead.
That's my point. Whatever you leave, I guarantee is going to get stolen. So if you just a creative way not to get stolen is by turning it into commerce.
While y'all go to set up our agreements or whatever with the Del Zone, I can stay behind and start building a stone thing for our storage. It's a lot stronger than a wooden warehouse in a different area, and the Zentarum lady wouldn't know that particular building is our storage. In fact, I can even hide it. Or make it underground or inside of one of the walls of the mountains that are surrounding the place.
Logue's not wanting his share being left.
Your share can be in my bag wherever we go, but
Right. How much is it? How much do we have per person?
Roughly 500 pounds of mithril and 500 pounds of adamantine.
And we have a party of 5.
A party of 6, but yeah, we'll be keeping.
Well, 5 until you know.
Yeah.
We'll give Locke some stuff, but enough to make gear. But that's so each one of us has 100 pounds of mithril, 100 pounds of adamantium, right?
Yeah.
And then so how much is that worth? Each one of those, like how much is a pound? Of
500 for mithril and 1500 for adamantine, assuming that you can sell them at all.
So you could just take a little bit and make a deal, like with these guys. But you know what I mean, like you could set up. You could ask Dagger Falls boss if he wants to get in the business of selling that, of the trade of that value, and if so, we could set up some kind of business and give a little bit. Even if you give a few pounds, that's 10 pounds each. Enough to get something started.
Would y'all want me to stay behind while y'all go on and do it in character? He'd be perfectly fine with it. In fact, he has a few days or a good number of days to do nothing but work with his hands.
But wouldn't you?
Out of character too, I'm fine with it. It's whatever.
Yeah, but like if you want to go to Cormier, you build the finest weapons ever in the halls, and build an army's worth.
I reckon it's better to wait for downtime before start crafting up a storm. Else you could be just having to just sit here for potentially several sessions.
All right, then we can go. And as long as I'm alive, we'll be able to keep all the stuff on us.
Yeah, prioritize keeping Artisan alive.
Well, that's where you want to diversify and ask Dagger Falls if they're the blacksmiths or the boss there if they want to get into the business and leave a few pounds.
The only blacksmith was Silverwater, and he dipped out. I've been using his forge, just leaving a little bit of money behind whenever we make stuff.
Mm.
Okay.
Just in fact, when you were introduced, you had gone to Silverwater because it was Silverwater Steel or whatever, because it was the only place in Dagger Falls that had a smith, and I was working behind the counter.
Well, we can make Dagger Falls the best place to get weapons if you wanted to stay as a character and build your own smith and start forging that and run a business here. But that would be.
I think in our year downtime, I could do that, but we can go to Cormier in the meantime, because I think what we can do at Cormier with them, plant that seed of let's retake Tediamar. It's possible because we did it with just 5 people. Most of their resources are going on the other side of the Dales. There's no better time than now. And spend like a year of downtime preparing them. Artisan can craft seed shit, build a warehouse for us of stone.
It's quite defensible. Given the way it's built and whatnot, you can defend it with a very small amount of people. You don't need a huge army to properly defend it.
And it does have probably one of the best forges
around.
in the
The only forge we know of that can work adamantine.
What all did you leave behind you when you escaped last time?
A giant adamantine dragon, because we had an army bearing down on the 5 of us.
Yeah, the one thing I'd be wary of though is that they might anticipate this, and we might like return to Teliamar in an attempt to take it, and notice that the army that arrived has set up a bunch of tents and a defensive perimeter around the entrance.
Yeah, but
And
they
now
might just loot it and run too.
Yeah.
But I mean, what strategic advantage does Teliamar to keep for them?
The mine. Yeah. And the Delzoon probably have knowledge of the Underdark too. I want to see if we can get a detailed map of that area of the Underdark to see if we can we can have a force coming through the front and through the bottom like we did.
Yeah.
So we're taking everything with us then, or we're gonna leave something here.
So we take our cart for supplies.
Yeah, horse and carts and animals to ride.
We have horses for the whole party.
I'll ride the cart.
All right, so you go to buy some horses, and horses are relatively cheap in Dagger Falls. But word gets around, maybe when you're looking at saddles or saddlebags or something. Inevitably, you find yourself at the only store in town, the only general store that is. And Faramir, the 2 foot tall, 10 halfling, asks you straight, "Oh, you're traveling, are you? Where are you headed?"
Why are you looking for a ride?
Well, always. But this time, I'm looking to be carried. I have something that I need distributed in ways south, if you're going far enough.
Well, you need it
Where
taken.
exactly?
I can't tell you what I need distributed, but I can tell you where. I need it to get to Cormia. Any city in Cormia will probably do, if that is where you're heading, or to Suzail, or even Westgate. You are going south.
Yeah, but we're not telling her where we're going.
Perhaps you would be interested in going a little bit further? Perhaps to Arabelle.
I would know what these goods are first. If it is something like poison or narcotics, I would not have you distribute them in my cities.
I cannot tell you what they are, but I can tell you what they are not, and they are neither poisons nor drugs.
Why so secretive then, if it is not anything to be suspicious of?
How big is it?
It is of moderate size. You will fit it within a single wagon, but it will take up most of that wagon. About 6 foot long and a few feet wide. No, it will not. It neither lives nor breathes and will not need to be fed.
Interesting choice of words. You speak as if this is some sort of automaton, not unlike artisan.
It sounds as if you are jumping firmly to conclusions. I can confirm to you it is not some sort of automaton, specifically or in general.
Is it documents? What is it? We need to be knowing the general
I
content.
cannot be specific. All that I can ask is that you do not, under any circumstance, look into it. You do not investigate it, and I will pay you heftily. For, as you may well know, the trade routes safe have been blocked by plague for some time. I trust you are not afraid of the plague?
Not really.
I did not
Speaking
think
was
so.
wholly for myself.
And thus you are the perfect candidates. You have proven to be trustworthy and reliable and honourable and capable. And can you imagine how difficult it is to find someone with all four of those attributes in a
Who would
town
be
like this?
Who we be delivering this to?
Another member of Fulgath's caravans. We are a chain, you see. Westgate Wagons.
Has in this campaign has anyone gotten into that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Mara did. Of course, yeah, so Mara did. So we have already had positive relations, although I have not heard from Mara for some time.
No.
We can
I-
escort your cart and your wagon.
Very good.
You provide your wagon and you provide your driver, and we'll provide them safety. That is the
Oh,
best. We won't take possession of something we get in trouble for.
You will
We
need a
got-
driver, will you?
You're in charge of your own stuff. We'll protect him as best we can on the road.
What guarantees will I have that my cargo will reach its destination if my driver should happen to have an unfortunate accident?
Do the best we can under the circumstances.
That will not be good enough. I will be paying a premium to ensure success.
If your driver falls, I myself will pilot the wagon.
I trust you. I rely upon you. What would be a suitable fee, do you think, to deliver something of high value? A few hundred miles. 350 miles, perhaps?
How many 10-day is it to get there?
Oh, well, at 25 miles a day, you should make it within 15 days, I should suppose. 20 at the outside.
So we'll be saying 2 10-day. How much does it cost for armed escort for 2 10-day?
Well, I suppose it depends on a lot of specifics, doesn't it? The danger, the commodity, the urgency, the reliability.
I'm asking the party.
Mm.
But I'm paying for them all.
I guess in our group, not so much where she can.
Yeah. She let you go and this is business. Go and think about it for the afternoon.
Yeah, thing is, I think we should also charge a pretty high price because we are some of the most powerful people in the Dales right now, and she's asking us for a cargo mission. It's like giving a Class D mission to Class A adventurers.
Yeah, but we
equivalent.
not be smugglers.
Well, I'd like
What's
to
So are
the
we
see.
standard
smugglers
fee
now?
table?
Is it a
I'd like-
setup?
You will
Well,
notice that somebody is listening to our little conspiracy. They share. It's only a fairly small little area that we're in, possibly the Red Rock Inn, and there is a foreigner. Locke, would you like to describe what Sildharan looks like?
I can. It'd probably be armored, I would think. Sort of full plate armor, plate mail armor, fairly fancy looking, sort of blue enamel with sort of white scroll work or chasing. Probably a shield to match, I would think, would also be probably not strapped on the arm, but worn across the back. Sword, flail, fairly heavily armed. Clearly elvish, long sort of hair worn loose, white hair, pale skin, kind of storm gray eyes.
Very good, very good. Well, you've been contracted by an organisation called Westgate Wagons recently, and it's possible that they're just a front for some other business, but that's irrelevant at the moment, at least. Um, they've asked you for a dual role. First of all, they want you to be a driver. They want you to drive a wagon down south. They've organised this ahead of time. And second of all, they want you to listen into the negotiations of what these guys are doing. So Faramir kind of predicted that this was going to happen. That she would come to you guys to take her stuff south because there is no one else. And she'd be sending her own driver, partly because the stuff is valuable and she doesn't trust you 100%. And so she's basically feigned not having a driver when she had one all along. This guy, Sildarin, and so Sildarin, your immediate purpose is to sort of listen into their conversations and to try to get an edge on an insider trading, basically find out what the lowest result that they are going to accept. So that's what she can then offer them. And secondarily, you're also going to be escorting some important cargo to the south. What is your fee for being a driver with premium cargo, no questions asked?
Oh Jesus! 60
They offer you
gold. 60
they
gold.
offer you
each?
500.
Yeah, that sounds
She
right.
offers you 500.
Yeah, 500 seems better than 60.
Absolutely. So, but that's just for you, though. Just for you, 500 gold pieces will be your cut, and that hopefully pays for your agency. So she doesn't want you revealing that you're a member of Westgate Wagon. She doesn't want anyone to know that you are already a part of it. This is just going to be your independent fee. Do you have any problems with that?
No, I don't think so. I don't know anything. There's nothing I know about this organization that's sinister or shadowy.
Make a history check, perhaps, but on at the surface, absolutely not. Yeah, no, they're legit. They are a southern conglomerate who came up from a city called Westgate, a pretty big trade hub called Westgate, a couple of 100 miles to the south. And they took over a local mom and pop store, just a general store that had sat here for a generation or two, and they bought them out. And everything that you could want from the player's handbook is here. It's a really well-run store. The prices are pretty good considering how remote we are, and the horses are half price, and so is the leather, so that's pretty nice as well. Nothing untoward, but for 500 gold pieces, she expects your compliance, your science, your silence, your ingenuity, and your initiative. Just listen into them, try to find out what their lowest price is, try to find out how likely it is that they're going to spring open these goods, and just generally ingratiate yourself with them, be their friend, and try to make it as genuine as possible.
Even though it's not.
Wow, it's business, right?
And did you say we noticed them?
No. This isn't something that she's organised before you even came back to town, and when she just heard that you were in the vicinity. But he notices you. You're in a fairly small tavern, and you're talking fairly quietly, but like you're hardly expecting your conspiracy to be overheard by some random dude and for it to matter. But then again, you look at this guy and he's not dressed like a farmer or a leather worker. You can be sure.
Yeah, I'm not subtle for sure.
I say this: let him give us a caravan and a driver, and we'll be good. It'll be a great reason for us to be heading south if anybody be watching.
Well, I'd like to see this package. He said we can't investigate or mess with it, but I'd like to see it.
See the package itself.
Yeah.
See how
Well,
much
you
of a
gotta make
hassle
sure
it's going to be.
it not be contraband or something that get us in politics. This could be some kind of setup. But if it's not contraband, then I see no worries.
As for the total price, I guess I'd like message it individually. Since we're talking about money. It's 300 for a specialist. It's 4 GP per day with 15 days at 60 gold each. 300 total. But I think we should charge a little more than that.
500 is a good place to start. 100 gold piece each for a 210 day.
I'd like to
That seems
quickly
alright
add
for me.
that I don't want to get paid for this because I don't want to have my hands part of it.
Alright, so 125 each, leaving out the rabbit.
I also don't want to take money for this.
All right, well, 500 it is, and we'll split it up, and you can go your own way. Ride your horses fast.
But we
Pretty
can
good stuff.
put it directly into party wealth, though.
It makes no
Artisan
difference.
has no use for gold except for materials.
Aye. Would it be a great reason for us to start a caravan going south?
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Tell her we'll take her deal for 500, and if she's got anything else she needs south, she could throw it in the wagon as well.
As I mentioned, I'd like to see the package before I agree to anything.
Tell her we got a paladin here that doesn't want to be taking any contraband.
Yeah, based on her choice of words and the description of the package, I have my suspicions as to what it is.
You'd be thinking we've got a flesh golem back there.
Who knows?
well, she was adamant in that it wasn't living or artificial life. So it's probably some form of material good. As for the decked out person sitting in the corner of the tavern, their armor was pretty good, right? Like pretty fancy.
Looks pretty flashy, yeah.
Okay. That's more of an excuse, more than enough of excuse for Artisan to walk over.
Artisan porn.
Yeah, that's Artisan porn right there. He gets a metal boner. I know he's wood too, so he has legit wood. No.
Oh, damn, is that some magic armor?
Huh.
I guess firstly, my little thing would run up to where they're sitting, and just one giant red eye would just look at it. And then Artisan would walk over and ask, "That's some mighty fine armor you have there. Where was it crafted? I'd like to know."
That I couldn't tell you. It was liberated, if you will, from a long dead tomb of my people, buried deep in the forest.
What's your race?
Elf.
I've only had much experience with dwarven craftsmanship. Not
Definitely. And Sildarin, you have heard basically everything that they've said, yeah. That's obviously well and truly enough to get a good look at it. What is this? Where did your armor come from, Sildarin? Do you have any idea where it was manufactured?
Yeah, one of the my past adventures that I'd cooked up was I hooked up with the Harpers for a little while, and
Cool.
one of the missions that I helped out with was to stopping some Baneites from looting a temple or a tomb of some long dead elf hero in Cormanthor.
Excellent,
And
excellent.
the result of that was coming away with dude's armor and shield.
Brilliant, brilliant.
How old would this person have been? How long ago would they have died?
Centuries, I would imagine.
Yeah,
Pre-Myth
absolutely.
or Draenor times, I would
Yeah,
hazard.
absolutely. So more than 1,000 years.
Hmm. Would I have any experience with it?
Not necessarily experience, no, but certainly an appreciation for it. It's of an unfamiliar style to you, and it favours beauty over functionality a little more than perhaps a dwarven style will. But each of the guards and plates and interlocking mechanisms all aren't just beautiful; they all serve a purpose as well. Um, it's a work of art, is what it is. Designed as much for courtly life as it is for battle, but it's well suited to battle as well.
Artisan takes a liking to it and decides to incorporate some of the designs he sees into his next Steel Defender.
Very good. Less utilitarian and more decorative.
Yeah, he's with me a lot, and we're doing statecraft now, so
Good point.
gonna make him look pretty. What brings an adventurer with such great armor of such high make here? I suppose that even if you weren't there at its making, this was very protected. Or treasured at the very least.
It was a fierce battle indeed before we finally prevailed.
And what brings you here to humble Dagger Falls?
So sorry, I'm not supposed to let on that I've been retained by these people.
Yeah, that's right. Just like it's just keep it. There's no need for them to know. You know, no reason for them to know.
Right.
Hmm.
I'm always in search of adventure. My nature is such that I'm really constantly on the move, looking for what's over the next hill, wherever the wind might take me. That was how I found myself in the depths of Cormanthor, battling Bay Knights to win this armor, and I guess that's how I'll find my next adventure, I would assume. What brings the lot of you here?
We're a party of adventurers that base here in Dagger Falls. We've been on quite a few journeys and quite a few battles as well. But alas, we are quite busy at the moment. But seeing this work of art that you bear on your body, I decided to come and investigate it. If you do have any works of art such as these that I'm able to view in the future, I'd gladly take the chance. And from that, he'd take his leave.
Very good. All right. So the negotiations. 500 gold pieces for the job. Is that what we plan?
Yeah. Everyone's all right with that.
Well, as I mentioned, I would like to see this package before we sign any contract.
I'm sorry, but I am unable to show you what you'll be transporting.
Unable.
We don't have to see in the package.
Yeah,
You will be shifting it in a coffin. I would advise that you tell people that, saying that it has the plague might be a little bit excessive. But most people won't ask questions if you're carrying a coffin.
Is there scientists in Cormyr?
I mean, there's you.
I was thinking if it's a
Yeah,
coffin,
there's a couple things.
we can flavor it to anyone who asks that we're transporting a new found carcass or whatever the cadaver of an unknown disease, and we're taking it to Cormier to have it investigated.
Brilliant.
And that way
yeah,
they won't know to they'll think don't open it, and I can even arcane lock it.
excellent, excellent. Then this is. I knew that I could rely on you. I knew I could trust you.
All the alarm bells in my head ringing. Here's a coffin.
But that's a pretty good excuse to be transporting a coffin.
Do we have another cart? I want to make this look like a caravan, so we're not so. Doesn't make one cart just suspicious. Yeah, but we can get 3, and that would look like a normal caravan. We can load it with trade goods.
We can see with the businesses around here if they'd like us to do that.
Yeah,
We
I'll
could load it
post-
up ourselves.
I'll post
with
the
goods.
ability. So as soon as it's within, I think, 30 feet of me, it's going to become very relevant. 60 feet, actually.
Not behind total cover. I'll detect evil, right? 3 foot of lead. It's only 3 inches of lead at most. There is no undead or fiends within the coffin.
All right. We can put a couple of barrels of the dwarven holy water next to it in case we need to torch it.
No, none of the above.
If well, I doubt we need the holy water then. If it's because holy water pretty much works on.
It's dwarven holy.
It's what's
Yeah.
piss.
It's not holy water. It's dwarven holy water.
Exactly. It's
Oh, yeah.
60% alcohol whiskey that has a slight garlic flavor. Is it like? I can't. It's cheap as. I can't remember how much it is.
Yeah, let's
It's half.
load
It's
up.
half whatever the player's handbook price is. It's half of that anyway, and you can choose between Shadowdale Pale Ale, Daggerdale Draft, or Tethyamar Stout. There's 3 different types of beers brewed here in this town.
Let's look like merchants, like a merchant caravan, and see if we can blend in and get 2 or 3 carts and stock it up with food and barrels and stuff like that.
Oh, carts are also half price. Carts are half price. Livestock's half price. Beer's half price. So you guys aren't just pretending to be merchants. You genuinely are merchants at this point. You're getting good deals, and you're going to be able to turn a profit. That's how
Alright.
it's done.
We'd only
Certainly
need to
not.
buy one additional cart since she'll be providing one of their carts and we have one of our own.
Yeah.
We can see if any of the traders or businesses in Dagger Falls want to have anything sold in Cormier, or we could just say we'll be selling items south of here.
Well, people will sell you their hides. This is basically how it'll work. Here in Daggerdale, we produce hides, iron ore, meat, to a lesser extent grain, but really so leather, hides, meat, and furs, and iron ore. These are the things that come out of Daggerdale. To simplify the trade system, you buy at half price, and you either sell at 100% normally, or maybe 200% if you're really, really lucky for some reason. And we know that they have an iron shortage down south in Cormier because everyone's going to war, and they're making swords and they're making shields and stuff like that. So we could buy half the value, but rather we could buy X at half price and then sell it for a different price.
Sure. So we can get a leather in one and
Yes.
furs, and then we can get ore
Yeah.
and like leather and trade goods and stuff in one, and then we can put ore in another, and then the other
Just
one
let me
could be
And just let me finish that thought. And so rather than saying, well, how many pounds of iron do I have, or how many pounds of leathers, how many wool furs do I have, just get a value's worth. We'll assume that we can carry it because we're not, carrying literal tons. So we'll assume that we'll be able to carry it and say, okay, well, look, I've got 1,000 gold pieces worth of furs. I paid 500 for them. They're worth 1,000. They're now on my equipment list, and hopefully I'll be able to turn a profit. So that's how it works.
So why don't we just get the 3?
But yeah, all
Get the
the stuff
3.
of value though we have in my bags,
Right.
and we wouldn't want to flaunt that, so we're getting more stuff to flaunt it, and we can even turn a profit in Cormyr.
So why don't we just we could just have 3 carts. It doesn't hurt anything. We've got the money.
Yeah.
And we
Yep.
could fill it up, one with ore, one with trade goods and kegs and
junk.
leather and fur.
Packs.
And if a cart breaks down, then we could just toss it, and then we'll have.
True.
So we don't. I mean, it doesn't have to be complicated.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have to be complicated, and it shouldn't. So if you want to pay for the 3 carts and all the livestock associated, just work out what the price of that is. It's half price because we're in.
It would be one. She's giving us a cart for her thing, right?
Precisely, that's right.
Okay.
And she expects that you're coming back, right? Like, this is a return
Yeah.
journey. Bring my cart back. Good. Okay. Well, you can give it to the contact. You can give it to Orchid, but I'd prefer if you brought it back.
And we have a cart of our own, so we'd only need to buy one. I'm all for making a profit in the thing, and I think the trader deal is a good idea. If we have more.
Work out how much you want to spend then. Like, do we have 1,000 gold in liquid? 1,000 gold coins? I thought we had more. I thought we had more than 10. Yeah. So if you want to convert that to trade goods, then now's the opportunity. You'll get 2 gold pieces worth of trade goods for every gold piece you spend. Exactly right. And you can buy a lot of leather for 1,000 gold, but that's probably not enough to fit. Your cart would probably still have room after that, I would think. Yeah, and the one cart that has her thing, she only needs to carry a coffin, so there's still plenty of room left in that one for our overflow. So, however we look at it, it's like we don't need to analyze the logistics of cubic square feet or anything. We can assume that it fits.
And
so how much are we going to buy?
I'd say probably 2,000 worth of iron, if
2,000 of
not
iron?
too much.
Yep.
And then, but actually, like, be able to sell that for 4,000 or more. So, like, a lot of iron, because it sounds like that they'll pay a pretty penny for it down there. So 4,000 gold worth of iron, but only have 2,000 that we put out. Yeah. What were you saying about it? Sorry. Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with it as long as we're not arming the side that's affiliated with the war mages.
We're gonna
How
take
will
this
you
to
make
the
sure that you-
dwarves.
Oh yeah, sure. Just sell it to the dwarves instead of the Cormyrians.
Yeah, take it all the way to the dwarf place and sell it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, all right. He'll keep an eye out. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's well within his capabilities. He's not the brightest tool in the shed, but he can do that.
In what month is it? Is it summer? What season is it?
It's how long is it? Any idea how long the campaign's been going, guys? Is it like 3 months at an estimate?
Yeah.
All right, well we'll call. Yeah, 3 months.
Yeah, I know that we've taken like 2 months of downtime for crafting and other stuff. So yeah, I'd
That
say-
makes it longer. It's probably 4 months then, because we worked pretty quickly, but we have taken, as you say, a lot of downtime. So it begins at the start of summer. So we've gone through summer and we're now into fall, into autumn.
Cool. So I just to cover up my dwarven um dwarven plate, I put on like a fur and a cloak over on top of it just to kind of hide it up, make it look rougher.
Absolutely.
Trying to
Looks
change my appearance from a more roguish than guy in fine plate.
Absolutely, looks legit. Like dwarves are not uncommon in this region, and a dwarf wearing a big heavy coat is fairly typical. Having armor underneath it, you've got that racial. It works in your favor in this instance, where people see a dwarf in armor and they don't freak out because it's like seeing a guy in work gear. That's his daily stuff.
yeah. With me, it's I can't really hide my own body, so
No.
I also stand out quite a bit with my shimmering hair and eyes.
yeah. There's just this one normal guy in a party of freaks. Because we also got Slave Bird. That's with us too.
A cat, a bird, and a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he only talks back to you in your own voice or someone else.
I just want to look like a less not as hard of a target to make it look. You put a fur cloak on and hide a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Where is the disease centered in Thorndale? Moog would know because he walked up.
Not centered, no, but it has destroyed Thorndale. Thorndale is now a ghost town.
Hmm.
We need to be watching out,
Probably-
looking out for a woman on a white horse. They said she came in, and it all started after her.
Mm. Perhaps we could also, if there's any available, take some curatives, not to sell, but to distribute to anybody who has the plague that we find. Some charitable cause.
Yeah. And you also have that spell, right, that cures diseases.
Yeah, I can use lay on hands to cure disease pretty efficiently.
I can take that as well after a long rest.
So, so can we just buy adventuring gear from the player's handbook from this town, right?
Yeah, you can, absolutely.
Sweet.
Also, if we're
Yeah, I meant
taking,
lesser restoration.
is that blighted too, or is it not? Like Thorndale's the epicenter of the outbreak, is it?
It's not. But it is a place that has been definitively wiped out, and there are no other villages of note in between the areas south of here until we basically get to Tilverton. It's real frontier country and claimed by nobody, and it's usually relatively empty of people. But right now, because it's got the plague, yeah, she's empty, all right.
Well, if they're all dead, and they have been for a while now, because Moog saw the last person burn themselves, left the last person to kill themselves, we might not have too much to worry about except for the animals there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, although the mountainous terrain might prove difficult for carts to traverse.
That way that you drew is actually more direct to where we're going. So
Yeah, I suppose it depends whether carts can navigate it. If
Who's
they
going to be
can,
sailing the 3 carts?
The Moonsea Ride is a proper road. This one not so much, and this one not at all.
yeah. So if we want carts, we're gonna have to go this way.
we can give Thorndale a wide berth.
Yeah, I'm confident in my ability to stave off disease and those party members that aren't immune to it.
So, Arctic, just a question on Moog's backstory.
Mm.
When you were doing the character review, and I suggested that he was with the Hammers of Morgan, you said, that's where he was fighting. That's like the Knights Templars, I guess, for the dwarves. They just go around in small groups helping out dwarven settlements. And you said you worked for these
So
guys.
basically, apolitical by the sound of it, right? Like they're truly a religious order.
Yeah, it's led by
rather than
clerics and
yeah,
paladins and stuff like that. So that's what I said. He came back as a story idea, and you said you put up that that I worked with the other dwarves. So I didn't know.
The Dirge of Delzoon.
Yeah, you said those were the guys I worked for. So did he work for the Hammers or did he work for the Judge? Like, does the Hammers exist in your world?
Yeah. So, yes, broadly speaking, yes. So the Hammers will be a relatively, because they're a global, international thing. They bring with them international prestige, but their power base is incredibly dispersed as a result of it, and it's probably a lot stronger in a place like the Sword Coast than it is out here in the wild areas away. But Cormier has a lot of dwarves, and a strong dwarven heritage and a proud dwarven heritage, and not disenfranchised dwarves either. Even though they've lost their independence, they are essentially citizens of a human kingdom. They still have retained a lot of their legal powers and a lot of their land ownership and so on. A lot of their cultural values, such as the Hammers of Moradin. So the Hammers of Moradin will be found within Cormier, but they won't be a power in any real sense. More like a handful of individual legends. There might be like a high-level priest or paladin visiting who is a member, or people might know of a small group of brothers that are in the next town along from here or something like that, and you will be connected to that. So if there's if there is one of the Hammers of Moradin here, then you will probably know them personally, and if not, then you would know each other by reputation. By contrast, with the Dirge of Delzoon, they are a very active but localized group. They have no international influence, no special divine providence, but they can potentially affect the world around us because they are here.
Right, and so that was the original backstory was he worked 25 years with the Hammers, and then he was freelancing with the Dirge of Delzoon.
That works well, I
That's-
think.
And
Yeah.
that's what you know originally said. That's why he came up there, you know, on some kind of work. But that's so he has connections with both. So that's the reason why I was just
Yeah.
that story.
Yeah. You can have connections with both, and that gives us an
Okay.
avenue in through
Gotcha.
two different directions. Yeah.
Cool.
As for the trade goods going down, do we have to worry about the meat spoiling, or is it preserved?
No. It's not that far, and the short answer is no.
Okay.
You wouldn't be sending it if it was going to rot. Like that'd be bad business.
So
Yeah,
this
maybe.
this black line right here, it's not an established road at all. It's just a line on the map.
The Shadow Gap is not a real road. But different maps located as a road and different maps don't. Like for example, this dotted road up here near Dagger Falls is sometimes listed as a proper road, but here it's not. The same goes for this one. This is one of those roads that isn't really a road, but on this map it indicates that it is. The Noonsea Ride is a road. The North Ride is kind of a road, like it is, but it's a road through the forest, whereas the Moonsea Ride is a proper trade route between powerful states. But it's not until you get to Tilverton that the real road, the Cormyrean Road, actually begins. So yeah, they're all pretty frontier country, but the Shadow Gap is, you can't expect it to be well maintained, for example, but there is a proper route, and you may find villages along there or you may not. This forest here is called the Spider Haunt, and as you can imagine, you're not likely to find a lot of villages in a region like that unless they're
Hopefully
goblin
the drow
villages.
have killed them all.
Yeah.
uh, then I guess yeah, we'll probably most likely just take this route, which is the more. Yeah. And I'll have my automatons scouting out for. I'm sure Moog would have told us about this, especially since we're heading that way now. Scouting out for any blue fire anywhere or anything like that. Because even non non-biological things can have it on it, but it would burn.
Ready. So I guess
Our caravan is going to be a target for sure.
has the gold for the trade goods been deducted from the party wealth? Alrighty.
Do we want to hire some meat shields? Okay.
And what is it, 2,000? Alright, I'll deduct that.
2,000 worth of iron and 1,000 worth of leather and furs. Yeah.
So I'll deduct another 1,000.
So make sure you list it as 2,000. If you spend 1,000, make sure you list it as 2,000. Just make it clear how much you did spend and how much it's supposed to be valued at. So it's not an unambiguous situation that we have to analyze later on and go, well, hang on.
With inflation,
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, remember the 6 kegs of alcohol, 3 of the good stuff. Yeah, well, I mean, not of the. Okay, then that should be fine. 4 is fine. 4
So
kegs.
we're getting iron, furs, and meat. Those are the 3 goods.
iron, furs, and leather.
And leather.
We can get meat as well. If you want to add like another 500 deducted.
Sure.
Nice.
Look legit.
Yeah.
And if we get stolen, then they could just take the carts and our bags of holding are none the wiser.
Mm.
Mhm.
So
Also,
you
we
got a
take
lot of money when you spend almost 5,000 gold pieces on wagons that you're going to walk away from.
Mm. They are loaded.
Are we also taking the suspicious package?
Yeah.
Well, if we are taking the suspicious package, then I'm not making any kind of agreement to guarantee its safety or not to investigate it.
I guaranteed its safety myself to get it there.
So you could be soldier Hen's shotgun driver.
Yeah.
There we go.
In case I
And we're
get
getting,
offed.
what, 6 kegs of ale as well.
It's-
We already have 2 from something. Okay.
AKA Molotov cocktail.
Oh, I wanted to ask about making stuff like that. If I would be able to.
Molotov cocktails, yeah. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, alchemist fire. Yeah.
I would be able to make alchemist fire. Is that
Yeah,
something I could
absolutely.
do on the road with a campfire?
No,
No?
you need
Okay.
a laboratory.
Watch out for the rock.
What kind of
But yeah, that's some pretty interesting camping trips if you're able to, man. That'd be a riot.
There we
what
go,
kind of
then.
stuff can I make on the road?
Not much. You tend to not be able to make much on the road. You tend to gather your stuff on the road. Strips of leather and balls of fur or whatever. Not a lot, but if you think of something specific, then that's fine. But generally, you need laboratories and at the very least a table um, and no wind constantly blowing your Bunsen burner out.
Okay.
Right, so we've got our trade goods, we've got a suspicious package. I guess we're about ready to go.
Yeah. As for ammunition and stuff, if I believe we're keeping up with that, I can do that in a long rest. So we can do that. We can have ammunition on the road.
Just so you know, Moog travels with his crossbow loaded next to him.
In brackets there in trade goods is the stuff that we have in the carts.
Right.
So who's order march? I'll be in the first cart or the last. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
How many horses do we have? Like, who's free riding?
I have my trusty summoned horse.
Guess I can take a cart then.
I'd take the middle cart, so my automatons can be based in a 120-foot circle around me, and the carts.
Moog's got vehicle as a skill, being a soldier, so you can do a cart.
I suppose you could ride either on my horse or with me on my horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll ride ahead of the pack as a sort of scout and vanguard.
Who's going to be tailing Charlie?
Yes, I will take the back cart with the mastiff beside me.
And their driver.
Where's
Oh, I
Yeah,
thought
we-
Sildarin was on the one with Artisan.
Well, whichever one's carrying the suspicious package would probably.
Well,
be
let's
the
put
one
that in the
to-
middle.
That's where I thought that one was going.
We'll over trade goods on both sides and have that in the middle.
Yeah. And my automatons are just going to be roaming around us as they usually do around our camp. One on the ground and one in the skies.
my token didn't make it onto this map, but I think I'm in the middle cart. Is that what I heard?
Grab. You can drop your token down. You'll find it in Heroes, Heroes of the Tales. Just click and drag it, and you should be able to move it freely around. Hopefully.
There you go.
Yeah, interestingly enough, that's yeah.
There you are.
I can't select it though.
You can't move this one?
Not that one. No.
How weird.
It's weird that you can place it but not pick it up. Do you have the pointer tool selected in the top left?
There we go.
Right. Okay, good. Oh, phew.
New-
I was
new
wondering what
dice.
what did I set up wrong? Okay, good. That's good. Very good. I love your carts by the way. I will replace them with some slightly prettier ones though.
I prefer these actually. No.
You know?
Square.
Nice, roughly drawn squares for our wealthy party members. This is how they look in game as well.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I would have the whichever ones were more apt to want to, if we had to lose something, which ones we'd want to lose more in the back or the front, which one, what do y'all think?
Well,
'Cause I
ambushes
believe-
usually hit the middle, so whoever's in the middle is going to hit the hardest. So that's
I guess with our strongest fighters up front, our iron can be in the front, and then the leather and furs and meat in the back.
Alright, then looks like we've got a cart order. A marching order, so to speak.
Could I do a quick thing before we leave? Of
Yeah, anything you want to do.
We have a shit ton of wood. I just want to basically seal this cart if we can.
Seal it.
Yeah,
give it a
put
roof.
put wood planks on surrounding the and see that we have a fucking coffin and the thing.
and that would be
Yeah, I forget what that's called, but there's a legit name for those. If we wanted to take the time, I could convert the carts into that, retreat into the cart and shoot from those type deal. If y'all want, we can just dip out.
yeah.
I
Why
think
don't we?
we're good.
Yeah.
Although, one thing does occur to me. Seeing as we have a bunch of coin, maybe get a stock of healing potions, because I don't think we have even a single one, do we?
No.
Yeah.
There you go.
Can't get scrolls to remove curse, but you can buy healing potions. I think there's a price. Available.
All of them.
400
Alright.
for all 10, yeah.
Done. The demon priest is interested in what your next moves will be.
Aye.
We're becoming merchants.
Eh.
We're going to be going
Oh.
south.
How quaint. Are you looking to make more money then?
We got some
Indeed.
ideas.
Well, I bid you farewell. We shall continue the excavations here at the temple. We are digging into the foundations now, attempting to rebuild the structure. If you have any donations that you would be willing to make, I am sure that Lathander will bless you.
I honestly think we might want to look into that or give some.
Sounds like a plan.
Perhaps you could consider buying our round shield if you have the funds.
I was just looking at that. Yeah, I was looking it up, but I couldn't. It's not in the search thing. I was about to ask what it was.
No, it's not.
Every day I
Lathander.
regret not taking Shield Master instead of Polearm Master.
They're
We found so many amazing magic shields.
a lot of shields, actually. Because you keep hitting dwarf places, right? Enemy shields in dwarf holes.
I have a +2 shield, so I wouldn't probably take that.
Didn't we
Plus
take
two,
a
that's
spell
incredible.
guard shield at some point? Yeah, I was gonna say that's like worth 20k in the same magic items book.
I thought Finnick got the one specific use shield. Yeah, beholder shield.
Yeah. It gives
Okay.
advantage against magic and advantage against raise. Against spells and against raise.
All right,
So
yeah,
instead of magic attacks, it's raise.
slightly different.
If you want to have that, just so you can, if everyone else is okay with it, just so you can have a shield that's worth a damn outside of fighting a beholder.
No, I'm a bow user, so I don't need it.
Huh.
So I
think
just
we
whip it
can-
out if I need to fight a beholder.
Who wants it? I know I can take it. Red Leg can take it. So you're not looking to have a shield? Huh.
There you go.
All right then, so I guess we can purchase that. Carrying the holy symbol of a different god. I don't know.
When all your spells stop working, you'll find out.
I don't know. Out character. I don't know.
Make a religion check then. If that's really a question for Dogma.
Let's see. Religion, not my strong point, but I'll give it a try.
Can I make a roll on it?
Yeah, absolutely.
20.
Yeah, yes I do.
You give a dwarven perspective. So, Eleanor, it sounds like something that is going to be very offensive to a lot of people. It's also going to be very confusing because people will remember you by the heraldry of your shield, and when you're gone, they'll remember that Lathanderite paladin who did so much for them, and no one's going to remember Seamorph. But that tends, but Artisan explains that tends to relate to the vanity of humans and people rather than gods. The gods aren't vain. The gods are very protective of their sphere of influence, and they're very jealous and about their sphere of influence and keeping it for them. But wearing a shield, displaying something, is not something that they generally even notice. So it's pretty bad from a religious, dogmatic perspective. From a practical, political point of view, you're going to piss people off. But one person who's not likely to be pissed off is Seamorph or Lathander themselves. You're doing your holy justice things, and they both support both of these things. They're both like one's a lawful neutral god, the other's a neutral good god, but they have some pretty similar values. They're like families. They like that which is good and holy. They like the light. So those commonalities mean that the gods don't care, but the priests almost certainly will.
Yeah, so I'll let it be your decision. I'd say Eleanor's opinion is that she wouldn't do it personally.
I guess my advice from what Arctics had said, is people are going to care, the gods won't.
Hmm. All right.
What about
Looking
the
at
amulet?
the Spellguard shield, we still have. It reminded me that we still have the main eye of a beholder, as well as a few of the other eyes.
Yeah, I've got quite a few eyes in my inventory.
Yeah. Would we need a rune forge to make another Spellguard shield?
For sure. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So probably.
Why do you want a
Yeah.
Spellguard shield?
Well, I guess that would be on the list next time we find a rune forge.
Yeah. Where is there some way to store this safely?
Store what? The shield?
The eyes.
Oh, yeah. You just carry them around in vials and jars and hope they don't get broken.
Yes,
Can I
will
purchase
quickly
a
buy
large
10 vials.
jar and put it in our warehouse?
Yeah, you can put it in your warehouse. What was that? Sorry, Finnick?
I just said I'll buy some vials to put all the eyes in.
Yeah, too easy. Yeah, that's no problem. So we buy some vials, we put them in the Zent warehouse, and you can assume that that butchery stuff is now stored safely. Pickling in a jar. You've turned it into like a really creepy garage now.
What is the
Sort the eyes in the general order that they actually were on like shelves.
what does the amulet do of defense against evil?
Amulet of defense against evil.
I assume it replicates the spell protection from evil and good.
I just closed her sheet, so I'll bring it up again.
Do we also want to buy the potions of lesser restoration in case we get the disease and not have to waste a spell slot on it?
Well, I can cure it without wasting spell slots, but you can buy them if you want. Let's see.
One or two would be
Oh.
alright.
She does have potions of lesser restoration. That's good.
I was about to be all over that amulet, then I saw it as a holy symbol of the Thunder. So
Yeah.
sad.
Price of piety.
Yeah, all the more reason not to wear another god's holy symbol. She needs more notoriety and recognition.
Yeah. Can I get 2 of those lesser restoration things then?
Absolutely.
I have lesser restoration, but it'd be good not to waste a spell slot on it. Unless absolutely necessary.
Alright, so we've got some potions, we've loaded up our wagons, we've put away the stuff that might get broken, we consulted with some certain people, we're getting paid for this, and somewhere along the way we managed to pick up an elven warrior who incidentally is going to be one of the guys driving the wagons. One thing we don't have is a contact. And so Faramir explains to you, now it's going to be really hard for you to find the person you're looking for. They're very mobile and unpredictable as well, and they tend to not like to show their face. So how will you find your contact? I'll tell you how. With a password. You will say, I searched today for an orchid. And she will reply, the strongest flowers grow on graves.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Look for a belly dancer eye.
You may have to go as far as Arabelle, but you may not.
If you want to sign a did they do it in this campaign?
I don't know if anyone's met her in this campaign. I don't know.
Because if that was her, we can confirm that it's her, and that'd be a lot easier. If we had seen that in this campaign or the previous one, whichever. We'll decide that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think we've met her, but maybe we have.
Doing
What
the same campaign twice is kind of confusing.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's not. It's not her. No, it's not the one from the Badine camp. No, that would be funny because like she basically framed us for murder, so that would be a little awkward. Yeah, no.
Also, before we leave, is there any other magic items available for sale in Dagger Falls?
Not a lot. No.
But there are some.
Yeah, there are some. There's this guy. He's got some.
Can we get some caltrops?
Easily. Yeah.
Can we get a few bags of caltrops? In case anybody starts chasing us, we could throw them on the ground.
We haven't been to this guy yet.
I think we have.
No, I don't think we have. All right.
Darren's instant fortress. Oh boy.
Okay, so there's a little shop in the center of Dagger Falls that that Sildarin has found while we're getting busy with plans. You know, like there's only so much attention that Sildarin can pay when he has such a free spirit. And you find the curiosity shop, Sildarin, and oh boy, is it curious indeed. There's one of everything, it seems. A purple boot, a feathered hat, a spyglass, you name it, there's one of them, but there's only one in each case. He doesn't seem to stock multiples of anything. Perhaps most exciting of all is his lucky dip, which he assures you is suitable for both boys and girls.
I see.
Do you like gambling? I would like to
That's about all I
partake
can
of the lucky
afford.
dip. I will give a platinum for 2 lucky dips.
Oh, very good, very good. You'll find that it's most lucky. Rolls D743 as you fiddle around in this sack to see what can be found within. 240. For 5 gold pieces, you have pulled out a tiny painting showing a vulture carrying a bone in its beak. Very good, very good. You'll love that. No returns.
Okay, for the second one.
Roll, yep, 116.
Is that 743 different things that could possibly come out of that?
Certainly is. You have found a piece of pure white cloth that never gets dirty. Oh, give that to your girlfriend. She'll fall in love with you and marry you.
Oh, it's time to get bankrupt brawling on this table.
How many silvers makes a gold?
10.
Okay. I don't have any in my personal wealth because I have given it all into the party fund.
Not really.
Personal wealth. Just
Can you
steal it behind
guys?
people's
Can you
back.
guys? I'm gonna add a list of just stuff. You can just add it to the thing, like block and tackle and chain and grappling hook and stuff like that.
Absolutely, go ahead. All right, D732. Rolling high, rolling high. Sildren, you reach into the sack and you have pulled out a vial of puke that smells like roses. So it's vomit, but it's aromatic vomit.
Nice. I as well.
How can you not?
Oh, very lucky, particularly for me this day. 729 is a weird brass pot that, when opened, reveals a hot steaming meal of great distaste to he who opens it.
What?
I don't know how that fit in the bag, quite frankly, he says as he looks into the lucky dip.
Jesus Christ.
Although, Flightless, he did roll too low of a die.
760.
Yeah, it's 743. He rolled his last roll.
Ah, well, no returns, no returns.
God,
What does 678 get me?
678 is a book that translates anything you say into any language you wish. However, it also adds in several random words, completely changing the meaning of whatever you say.
Hell yeah.
That's brilliant.
nice.
It is absolutely brilliant.
Worth it.
Well, that was most curious, says Hobblefoot, a gnome who is dressed with far more pizzazz than the average gentleman in the city.
I will now start taking my own personal cut and bringing it all here for Lucky
Yeah.
Dips.
And may I just point out some of the power of some of the things they have for sale? I'm drooling over a couple of these items.
We should kill him.
Is there something I would like as well?
That's a fight you for it.
Yeah.
What the
120
tome that I had
gold
that I just got? Is that what you were saying you wanted? Oh,
Yeah, I'd want it because it'd give me +1 to my saving throw aura, and also I think that's it really. Saving throw aura, and also spells, of course.
what's the table for Lucky Dip? Where do you find that?
Oh, it's a secret. No, alright, I'll share it with you.
I know I can't look at that because I'm going to come back later and just spend hundreds of gold here.
Totally
That's
shouldn't
the
look.
plan.
Number
Did you
one is you can look at number one because it's one of the best. It is the miniature pet mimic. That's it.
I can add it to my tiny army.
So, blessed as we are with a meal of great distaste, we are, I think, getting fairly close to ready to go. We've loaded up our wagons. Did we pay for livestock? Did you buy horses or anything?
I'm not sure.
I don't
we've
think
paid
so.
for that yet.
I don't think we did. So at least it's half price. A horse is normally 75 gold, so you can buy 2 horses for 75 gold. If you don't want to take a horse, if you want to take cows or something instead, then I think oxes are maybe 10 gold or something. I can't remember. Whatever it is, it's half price, so you get 2 for the price of 1. Same goes for the wagon. So if anyone's got the player's handbook, check that out. But I know it's not going to break your bank, so it does. Kind of feels like counting coppers, but then again, it's still 100 gold pieces. Fairly significant amount.
For anyone but us.
Yeah, right.
225, 225 for 6 horses.
Done. Yeah, cool. And we'll throw in the wagons for free since you've paid for the horses. Okay, cool. So it's a great deal. People want to be associated with you. They want to do business with you. They want to shake your hand. And And I wish you best of luck with your new endeavours. And we can at last hit the road. Is there any final things that we wanted to address here in the safe part of town, or safe part of the world?
Definitely. I want to know whether the owner of this store, like what he accepts for trade. Does he only accept coin, or will he accept gemstones and ores and whatnot?
Depends what. Oh, curiosity shop.
Yeah.
Anything as long as it's curious. Like there is nothing that he won't accept as long as he hasn't got one of them.
I see. Because
So
he's got so many amazing items. I can't choose.
how much would he buy the mithril key that I made that is one of a kind?
Oh, mithril key. That's pretty cool. How many pounds of mithril? Like, well, probably less than 1 pound, presumably. So,
Yeah.
So 100 gold.
Is that worth 100 gold to y'all?
Sure, why not? It's not like we're gonna use it again, really.
I could reshape it, but it's whatever. It's not that enough to be significant, and we can guarantee he doesn't have it because it's like, hey bud, that opens a door somewhere.
Alright.
Will
He puts it in the lucky dip.
Let's see. Will he buy the jewel-encrusted bronze plate armor?
Oh, wait a moment. I've got to put this onto the lucky dip table. A mithril key that opens the door. Where does it open the door?
Yeah, but we shouldn't say it's Heliamar.
In a
dwarven ruin.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. Will he accept bronze plate mail? Absolutely. Hey, he loves that bronze plate mail. How much is it worth?
3,500.
Oh, it's very curious, isn't it? Very curious. Would you take 1,000?
That's less than the value of standard plate mail, so probably not.
Very well. Would you take 1,500?
It is jewel encrusted. We're at 2,000 at least.
All right, 2001 it is.
It's 2001. Are we happy to part with it for that, or we want to haggle higher? I'll try to haggle it higher. I'll make the case that not only is it jewel encrusted, but it was also the ceremonial piece for a high-ranking dwarf.
All right, make the persuasion argument.
Okay.
Can slap an advantage? Not advantage.
What are you doing? Are you giving him magical intervention? That seems a little bit crafty.
I fly my bird over to it and over to him and have it perch on his shoulder. It just has to be touching him.
Are you attempting to enchant me, sir?
No, not him. To Eleanor.
You're interfering in the fair trade of in fair trade by.
I only made the bird. I don't control where it goes.
I won't accept
a curious bird it is.
If I feel the effects of the enchantment, I'll take
guidance.
it.
You can't resist guidance, damn it.
Does it have to be a willing creature?
I don't know. Let's see. Nope, it doesn't have to be willing. Oh yes, it does have to be willing, sorry.
Well then I'll refuse to accept its benefits. Seeing it as a rather underhanded. Nice. You know what, I'm going to use my inspiration because that is god-awful.
Alright, so we might explain to Locke how we work inspiration in this game now. So once every game, Locke, every character, has inspiration. They start each session with it. You won't get it back. You're not likely to get inspiration for good role-playing or anything that is, that you typically receive it for. You just get it once per game, and it relates only to a D20 roll that you make. And so as you'll see, Lady Eleanor just used her inspiration, re-rolled her D20, worked out pretty well.
Yeah, so making the case that it was a ceremonial piece, I'll try and go up to, with a roll that good, I'll try to go up to 3,000.
Oh, it's magnificent, isn't it, when you put it like that? A very curious tale, Which king did you say it belonged to?
Good point. I don't think we found any mention of who it was, did we?
Moog would know. Oh yeah, it was. Was it the Priest King?
Yes.
Yeah, the
So we've
priest
got all
king of
this.
Was
the
the
priest
mad?
king of Iliamar.
Well, this is quite a unique piece indeed. There'll only be one of these, and with such a story, a historical anomaly and unique among its craftsmanship. Oh yes, 3,000 gold pieces. It is half of the plate and half of the story.
Yes.
Hmm.
Well, that was a good transaction.
All right, so he thumbs his nose down at Serpent Bridge because they've got a museum down in Serpent Bridge. Their population is only about ours, about 2,000 people thereabouts, but they're rich and they've got a school and they've got a museum and like poor Daggerdale, it's got the curiosity shop. And so, well, have you got a set of genuine Priest King armor? No, you don't.
Let's see what else can we attempt to. I'm seeing what else I can attempt to pawn on him now.
Grimoire of the Apprentice.
He pulls the money out of a bag of holding, by the way.
I see.
Ooh, how much for that?
Holding.
Not for sale. It's made out of
How
a hill
much
giant's
for it to
croak.
be for sale?
It's not for sale. You'll have to find your own hill giant.
I dangle my bag of holding. It's like, apparently I've already found one.
Oh,
Yes.
congratulations. Mine's better. Mine doubles as a pillow.
What about? Not sure how much it's worth, but we've been carrying it around since the start of the campaign. It's the Abarak's spellbook, the wizard, right in who causes all the trouble in the very start of the game.
How many spells and what level?
I don't know. Let's have a look.
Is
It's
that the
about
Grimoire
6
of the
first
Apprentice,
and
or is it
2.
a different one?
No, it's a different one. It's about
Oh,
6
not
first
so-
and 2 seconds, I think.
Let's see it so far.
Cool. 150, 250, 250.
That's how much you'll buy it for.
Yep.
Fair enough.
All right, you sell the spell book, and he's really buying it again, not for the spells, but because of the story attached to it. A bit of local lore where a mad wizard tried to blow up the local pub and was killed in open combat. Yeah, this is his spell book. Wow, is it cursed? Probably.
He was a Sirik worshipper.
Exactly.
And killed by the some of the strongest people in the town before they became that strong.
A brutal,
Is part
bloody
of our
murder.
origin story.
Indeed, that's right. So it's a chapter of a greater story. Yeah.
All right, and let's see. I
Curious.
don't think there's anything. I mean, the ore did come from Teliamar, but I'm basically seeing if I can get enough to buy some of these more expensive items.
A Nightbringer? Does he have one of those?
No, he doesn't have a Nightbringer.
Does he?
But
want one?
he kind of. They're not that curious really, because because they're getting around. But still, to have one of them, they are limited edition, right? They're limited edition, and that makes them exciting. He'll give you half of their value, whatever the value is listed at.
2,500.
Precisely. It's dangerous, it's scandalous, they can't come in here and get it, but it makes me a target, which kind of just makes me a little bit excited. It makes me spend even more, if I'm going to be honest about it. Yeah. Alright.
Alright. Go for it. I'm not editing it at the moment.
It's just the so he's given us 2,500 for the Nightbringer as well.
Yep, if it's worth $5,000, that's what
It
its
is.
market value is. It gets you 2,500. And yeah, he says, well, this is going to get me killed.
All the more exciting.
All the more exciting.
I doubt it, but is he willing to accept large quantities of ore, or gemstones?
He does, but not with any great aplomb. And so he will accept them as forms of currency, but they won't excite him very much.
1 pound
Alright.
each.
Well, if he's willing to accept ore and gems as currency, this definitely opens the door to these higher, more expensive items.
Let's start with gems. He'll give you, I think the best value trade you can get for gems in this town is 90%. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Yeah, 90%. So between even if he can't do it, Faramir will facilitate the trade, so you can get 90% of your value of gems.
All right. Well, has anybody got any plans for these 32 rubies that we have?
32 rubies. Are they worth like 1,000 each or something?
500.
Far out.
We have
I took
17
3 of them
diamonds.
already from the party wealth.
16 grand in rubies. Fuck, we are loaded.
I don't need them except for the 3 that I already took for if
Did you
one of
deduct that
my
already?
Are we low on
it's
gold?
been deducted.
If we're not
Apparently
low on
not.
gold, if we're not low on gold,
I know. Gotta
I
keep
think if we're not low on gold, then keep it in gems because it's more portable.
Gems are also very useful in enchanting, particularly the really big ones like expensive rubies. You can, put it into the pommel of a sword and do, who knows, whatever. Make it a fire sword or something.
Yeah,
Seeing as
let's
we have an
save that
abundance-
for the enchanting forge thing.
Well, seeing as we have an abundance of adamantine, we can do that instead. If he's willing to accept adamantine ore.
Yeah, he'll take up to 1 pound of it because, like, it's very curious up until 1 pound, and after 1 pound, it's more like, hey, wait a minute, why have you got all this adamantine ore?
All right. Well, what about 1 pound of adamantine and 1 of mithril?
Absolutely, that's very curious. Now, what about this adamantine and mithril ore? Tell me, where did you acquire such a? These are Tesiamar forged bricks, certified weights. The little ruling symbol is there from the era of the Priest King.
You
Curious.
didn't ask about where we got the Priest King armor, but ask about the ore.
Now I know where
I
you.
thought I was wearing the Priest King armor.
You've been
No.
into Tesiamar. What
Isn't-
was it like?
What about the Priest King armor? I thought Moog was wearing it.
Now the
The ornamental. We have the ornamental Priest King armor as well.
Oh,
It's not. It's just bronze.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You've been into Tesiamar. What was it like?
Old.
I'll try to regale him.
Huh.
Yeah, I'll try to regale him with a fanciful tale that is as vague as possible. So, yeah, I'll mention that we fought mummies and we fought like a huge mecha dragon. So, but
Yeah.
I'll leave out the Zentarum and stuff like that.
You've delved deeper than anyone's been since the tombs were sealed, and these are the things that you found. Amazing! Well, what's next for you then? I suppose it doesn't hold any more curiosity now that you've already been there.
I don't think it's a secret that we're heading south, is it? So I won't give a destination. I'll just say we're headed south and towards
Ah! Oh well, look out for the plague. Did you know it's affecting plants now?
plants as well
Yes, and rocks.
and rocks.
Rocks and plants. What an unusual virus.
What effect does it have on these rocks and plants?
Oh, well, it makes the rocks fly in some cases, and it makes the plants dance and drop down their pants.
I see. This
Well,
I'd be
so
worried if
weird.
I saw a tree with pants on.
doesn't sound like any ordinary plague.
No, I don't think it's anything ordinary at all. The plague of blue fire that originated during the year of wild magic. A little bit
Last year?
suspicious with that timing, if you ask me.
That's last year, right?
That's last year. Very good. I see that you've learned to read a calendar.
Let's see. So we're not planning to liquidate the gems.
Those would be great for if those would be great for enchantments. Then I'd want to keep them.
Yeah, are you editing the party wealth currently? Thank you. I don't think we're going to be able to liquidate enough to get some of these more expensive items then. These, we won't buy tons and tons of ore.
What about the scroll of Meteor Storm? I know you've got your eye on it.
It's like
cast
that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, nobody can cast it as far as I'm aware. Which is very disappointing.
Multi-class is just a cast.
Sorcerer or wizard.
Would, potentially.
Hmm.
It's not going to be easy.
No, what else do we have? We've got this torn flag here, which is worth 10 times as much to historians and dwarves. He's not really a historian, but he likes curious items.
He's an historian for one of that variety.
Can't remember where we got that flag.
Tediamar.
Oh, it was Teliamar, wasn't it? Well, I guess I'll offer him the flag, which I assume is the insignia of Tethymar or something like that.
Incredible! One of its kind! How much would you like for it?
We might need that to rally an army. Yeah,
Alright, well, we'll keep that then.
with some evidence that we could use in our favor.
You do know how to drive up the value of your artwork!
Let's see, we've got this dented goblet with jewels in it.
Oh, then we'll go. I'll throw that in the trinket into the lucky dip.
Sure, we'll sell that for what? It says 39 gold.
He'll give you 5.
Alright, sure.
what is it again? A dented jeweled goblet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty dented, so I think that's it for stuff we can sell to him.
I could have mended that or beat it out and made it a good goblet, but we can sell it for that.
I just figure that the party wealth's starting to get a bit clogged with stuff, so I'm trying to clear it out a bit.
Yeah.
Gotta remove the Nightbringer because we sold that. For what was it, 2,500? Yeah. Right,
Brilliant.
done all that.
Have we lost any players since I made stuff?
Isabella?
Did I make
Yeah.
anything for Isabella?
Probably.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't. I was going to make a 6-shooter, but we never got to it.
Right.
That would probably be a one of a kind in this area.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Yeah, that's about it really. We've got this mithril scroll case. Could sell that.
I think it's super useful for keeping waterproof, yeah.
Alright then, I think we're done.
Right.
Then. So with everything sold, because we're not planning to sell any gems, we have roughly 18,000 gold, roughly, in coinage.
It's like 3 Meteor Storm scrolls.
Yeah, so with that 18,000 gold, is there anything anybody wants from this list?
We can actually afford stuff here.
Some of it.
Room of flying! No.
Winged boots.
Yeah, what does the greater arms and armor enchantment do?
+2
Wow.
instead of +1.
Ooh.
That cloak of displacement is very juicy for someone who has high AC. In fact, I think if I recall correctly, Devi got one last campaign and abused it. Became basically indestructible.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty nuts when your AC is 24 and you've got displacement.
What does it do?
He was Yeah, so
Yeah.
enemies basically are permanently at disadvantage to attack you.
Yeah, basically.
If y'all want me to stay alive with the bags, I can grab it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. If anybody needs it, you need it.
And what is your ACU? It's like 25.
26.
26.
Ugh.
And you can
You'll
cast
never be.
shield as well,
You'll
can't
never
you?
be hitting the campaign again. Like I'm calling it now. You have suffered your final dice roll injury. You'll only be hit by spells from here on.
And
Yeah.
then if I make my save on a spell, I can make it do nothing. So
It's
Right.
31 AC with disadvantage.
I
It's
think that's a
absolutely
good
silly.
call. I think that's a good call.
Alright,
and then
Yeah,
when we
let's-
start making stuff out of adamantine, it doesn't crit.
You're like our walking safe. You need to be durable as possible.
Alright. So if we buy that, that sets us to about 10,000 gold remaining.
I think Debbie being that overpowered as our frontliner was one of the reasons we quit that campaign. Because it was like there was nothing that needed to be done besides just stand there and wait for your turn.
Yeah,
Maybe it's not wise to buy it just for terms of balance.
it brings it down to a 1 in 400 chance of being hit. It's pretty incredible. Right.
I mean,
It's
I'm
just
not
the nature of
frontlining now
D&D.
too, though.
You
Yeah.
were looking to just throw money into the wind. Wouldn't mind Boots of Elvenkind. It would make my stealthing up ahead more effective.
There you go.
Yeah, because Cloak of Displacement, I think it's a bit too good.
Well, if not for artisan.
Yeah, I'm not frontlining. I'm now that we have two really good frontliners and probably a third now. No,
No.
just the two.
Not going to frontline, though, it'd be a waste.
I mean, I can definitely frontline if I have that.
Well,
But
yeah, I mean,
it's a lot
artisan should
harder
do
for
it
me to
just
hit.
because you're carrying the future with you, whether you keep it afterwards. But for the rest of this,
Yeah.
you should be. Our bank should be as glyphed as possible.
Yeah, if I
Here's the
die,
VIP, and we're just his
1,000 pounds
escorts.
worth of precious metal just appears on the ground.
I'm all in with you being bulletproof as possible.
This is like some sort of not D&D but like Shadowrun or something where we have this escort robot, a banker robot that we have to escort and keep and the meat people keep him safe as he carries around the money of the conglomerate.
In the future.
Does he? All right. Well, that one, this one's not for sale.
Well, you said
Mine's got
where
my
is it
pocket money
for
in it.
sale?
It's under the 8,000 one.
Oh.
Also, if you have any magic equipment that's not +1, the lesser arms and armor enchantment would make it +1. So that's a neat thing to think about.
If y'all were okay with it, I could do that and have another infusion for another bag of holding.
It's only 2,000.
Because I'm using it for my I'm using one of my things for enhanced weapon, but that only gives me a +1 until I get to level 10.
Right then, so I guess we can get that for 2,000. Frees up one of your slots.
He enchanted himself.
And then
Damn, son.
Cloak of Displacement, I guess. we might regret it later.
All right. And yeah, he hands it over to you and dusts it off and gives you a bit of a fine fragrance to spray on it because it's been sitting there for a while, a bit musty.
That leaves us with about 8k in terms of coinage. So we can either just hang on to that and to have cash, or we can spend. Here's a question. I have
Yes.
the Ouroboros of Arcane Defense, which is essentially a +1. It's essentially a ring of protection with an additional effect. Would that stack with a standard ring of protection?
Yeah, they do, but they both require attunement.
Well, I have attunement slots available.
Yeah, so they stack. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to buy that then. Put us down to 6,000. Is that acceptable?
Which one? What was the adage to my weapon? 1 or 2?
+1.
Okay.
Well, not many people bring in many things, but I'll certainly keep my eyes peeled. Those boots that I just sold to you, he explains to Finnick, they are genuine from the elven burial grounds of Cormenthor.
Don't think we bought them, did we?
I
Oh,
think
sad.
We can.
we
Well,
can't.
they
but we
are
can.
genuine.
Yeah, we can, but we'll clean us out of all our coinage if we do.
Uh,
We could buy instead of the cloak, but if we buy both, we'll have like a few hundred gold in terms of coins.
I don't really mind.
If
I'll have a spare
you
coin, but if we don't, I'll live. I still do have pass without trace. It's not like I'm a weak stealth character without it.
So I guess we're not buying them then.
All right. Put some away. All right. At last we hit the road. So, here we are in Dagger Falls. Are we going via Shadowdale or Serpent Bridge? Distance is pretty similar.
Yeah. If we go that route, it will be Is there a way from Serpent Bridge, or we can charter boats as we've done before? Charter boats from Serpent Bridge to Moonsea Ride, or Moonsea Ride connects to it. Okay, the maps are confusing. Okay, so go to Shadowdale and get on the Moonsea Ride. Pretty much just pass by the diseased area. Yeah.
Yeah, especially since it's not an ordinary disease. If it's magical in nature, I don't think immunity to disease will protect you against it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's legit. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm on a different map. I'll come back over to it.
So is the other map grossly wrong, or is this one?
They are all grossly wrong.
Which one is Shadowdale really right beside the Moonsea Ride, like on the last one, or is it not?
No, it's the North Ride.
Okay, then never mind. But we could take a boat to Ashaben Ford.
Could do that. Actually, a side note. Still, Darren, do you have any magic items?
Armor, shield, and I grabbed a Iron Stone of Protection.
Okay. If you didn't have any, I was thinking about giving the ring to you. But a bit unfair to hoard all these magic items while you don't have any.
No worries.
You're also not officially part of the party yet. In game.
True.
Earn your stripes.
Okay, carry on. Just wanted to add that.
Yeah, we do have a road route or a river route, and I guess the third one is mentioned getting off at Ashaben Ford and joining the Moonsea Ride. So both river and road.
Yeah. Well, the road is cut off right here, so the
Hmm.
quarantine area
It is.
ends at that road.
I thought we were bypassing water.
Well, we better figure it out.
I've been through the magic disease.
There was no water anywhere near it, though.
Sort of. Yeah, like there are dwarves in both the Thunder Peaks, which are here, and the Stormhorns, which are here. So whether we take the road or the river, we're going to end up within the right vicinity, and but one community isn't necessarily better than the other. They are both in this pretty similar situation. They're both dwarven subjects of a human kingdom. Yeah, sure.
I would like to do one as well.
Yeah, sure.
Would Moog even know since he's from there?
Yeah, exactly. And Moog, you without even making the history check, you'd know that they are both Tethionmar dwarves. Yeah, they are both descendants of the Tethionmar dwarves, and they have. Yeah, they're part of the
20.
diaspora. Um, when Tethionmar was lost, they went south and they settled in the Stormhorns, and the human kingdoms were already established here, so they had to pledge fealty, and it was humiliating, but they've gotten used to it since then.
So which one is Moog's kin's at? So which one?
Probably the Stormhorns, but I don't know if we really established it. But so it can be if you would like to pick one or the other, then
I
that's
don't
fine.
care. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
whatever,
cool.
whatever you say.
Yeah, and it's not important for me either as well. So
You could be losing all your stuff in the water. But I've gone through it already. We can stay clear.
And one person is easier to keep from touching things than a party.
I think there's precautions we can make. So anyway, dwarves don't go by water. They hate water. That's why they hire people to do it. And so that's part of this culture. So Moog's never going to vote for it out of character. So we don't have to play that out. So if you guys want to vote and do something, but
Moog's not interested in it. Yeah.
dwarves are never going to want to go by a river ever.
Non-aquatic peoples.
Yeah, that's why they hire merchants to ship their goods from their stuff because they don't.
And if we're not taking an aquatic route, then I guess we're going this way.
All right. So over the hills, past Shadowdale, and down through the North Road, avoiding Thorndale. And once we get past Tilverton, we will eventually reach Arabelle, and probably meet some dwarves before we get to Arabelle. And that gives us a bit of an idea. It's a couple of 100 miles, and it can be expected to take less than a month.
I think we've got a
All right.
route sorted out.
All right.
If it takes more than the 15 days, can we haggle more pay? Because she said 15 days.
Well, it's really up to you to get a
It's
move
late
on.
to
I
haggle.
suppose. Yeah.
We got a mission more important.
Yeah. It's in your hands now. Okay. Sildarin, could you roll a D100, please? That's it. Okay. Bit of thunder outside. So we travel through the notorious Dagger Hills, which are known to have bandits and werewolves and other dangers out there. And while we are camping during the night, it's going to take 2 days to get to Shadowdale. So on the first night of our camping outside of Dagger Falls, we are woken up by the sounds of bestial squealing only a couple of 100 feet away from us. And then the rattle of chains.
Does it sound like monstrous or animal sounds?
Animalistic, yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
We're on a hill with amid a few trees, and it's down in the yonder valley, a few 100 feet out of sight, is where the squeals come from.
I can have my bird go check it out.
If it can fly that far, then certainly.
It doesn't have a set distance that it can fly. It's just whatchamacallit. I have to be within 120 feet of it to communicate with it.
Alrighty then. Fine with me.
Sure.
I guess I'll send it to go take a look out of high up out of sight.
About a quarter mile away from where we are, there is a dwarf, and he appears to be asleep. And there are 2 big pigs, boars or sows, 2 big fat pigs that are chained to a nearby tree, and it looks like they're trying to reach him, but they're chained, and so they can't. And the dwarf just sleeps on.
Reach him like trying to eat him.
Well, yeah, probably, but they're chained up. But they're big pigs. They'd be big enough to eat him if they got him. There's the campsite looks in poor condition. The tent has fallen over. The blankets have blown away. There's casks of empty ale that are just lying around. It's one man's made a lot of mess.
On his return report, does it look like the guy is breathing?
How close do you get? I guess the bird didn't check that out. It returns and tells you what it did find.
Sounds like either this guy had a rough night or he's been dead for a little while.
By your description, they sound like some abnormally large pigs.
Like boars, probably.
They were just
Normal sized pig will eat a man. So that part of it's not really that.
Pig rider, hog rider.
All right.
Well, it's a dwarf, so of course Moog's gonna want to go check it out.
Yeah, artisan would as well.
Righty, well,
Let's go check it out.
All
So
right.
we don't have to go as a whole group, but someone better stay with
I
our
want to go
gear.
mock this dwarf.
Well, since I'm pretty mobile on my horse, I'll stay here, and if something kicks off, I should be able to make it to you fairly quickly.
Sounds good.
Do we have a way of alerting you? Does someone? One of our party has a light cantrip, right?
Yeah.
If Flightless is coming with us, he can light cantrip my bird, and I can just send it flying straight up, basically like a living flare.
We could light an arrow and shoot it up into the air.
Moog just brings a lantern. If I was down there with a lantern and I waved it, could they see it?
It's a quarter mile away.
In dark there, you could see a quarter mile lantern. waving.
It's dawn anyway by now. It's daytime. It's
Okay.
early in the morning, and we are on a hill, so we've got that advantage point. And so you only have to walk a few hundred feet to look down, and yeah, there's these two pigs, and the pigs are chained to a tree, and they are trying to reach a sleeping dead dwarf. He's surrounded by rubbish. But he must just be sleeping because he turns over in his sleep, and you hear his fart from 400, 500 feet away.
That's awesome.
Does he have any markings to indicate what kind of dwarf he is, or
Not
what
from this.
land?
For this, not yeah, hundreds of feet away. He looks like a prospector.
All right. Well, then he's obviously fine. He's sleeping off a night's drink. Unless we want to talk to him and see what he's been all about. See if he knows anything. I'd say let him sleep.
Did it look like he has any boxes or cargo? Like
No,
perhaps
no cargo.
trading guy?
He has lots of empty barrels. Well, like small barrels that fit underneath your arm, but lots of them, and they appear to have been finished.
This drunkard might buy some alcohol.
Oh, we don't need to sell him nothing. Just need to be, if he's got any wise words of what's happening.
It's up to you. I'm happy to wait here while you do that.
Once I see that he's alive, I'll head back to the wagons.
All right.
Yeah, we go back.
Your interest is waning.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Excellent.
Moog just goes down there and, hooks
He sleeps on. The pigs get agitated at your presence, and they struggle at their chains and try to rush you, but they can't.
I'd like to say I followed Mog. I want to cast Speak with Animals.
All right, and the animal and the pigs are screaming, squealing. Give us beer! Give us beer! Beer!
Guess I'll go over
Beer!
and find a crate with beer in it.
They're all empty. Beer! I'll die without beer.
We can get one of our cheap barrels and bring it.
You feed the pigs beer?
If that's all right with everyone else.
Yeah, one barrel.
The pigs love you. They are so stoked. And the guy sort of wakes up while you're giving these pigs the ale. Hey! Wait! What do you think you're doing over there?
Good morning.
Guess I'll turn to him and start speaking Sylvan, and then just walk away.
And what the hell was that? Was that a rabbit? He blinks and pulls out his glasses and tries to look through them. I swear it looked like a rabbit. Must have been his hat.
Your pig's
You're gonna-
telling me be thirsty. What are you doing here?
And the
Okay,
pigs
into
are
a rat.
thirsty. Blast! The pigs need to learn to work if they're gonna get their ale. And I ain't seen much results from these pair recently.
No luck prospecting.
No, been looking for truffles we are. They've got good noses, but they refuse to work without beer. And why, so do I. Give me some of that.
We're just passing through. Is there anything we should be looking for?
Oh, well, maybe some truffles. They'll be right to... Oh, but we're supposed to give it the beer after they... maybe this will get them into the mood. You want to come truffle hunting, do you?
No.
Oh, well, more for us then.
Good luck with you, but anything down to the south, where you be coming from?
Have you got any more beer?
If you got some information.
Oh, all right. The south. There's a little village down there. It's all gone. Everyone's dead. Died of a plague. Burned in blue fire, they say.
Is that where you're coming from?
No. I'm kind of local. I am. My family's been living here in these woods for a considerable amount of time. How far south you going? You are not going all the way past the Moonsea Ride, are you? That's barbarian country now.
I'll be going to say hi to
Aye.
my clan.
Oh, well, no, you can't go that way. Lord of Storms has claimed it as his own. Aye, aye. The Storm God is made a kind of theocratic kingdom down there.
I guess we'll just
Cool.
be having to pay him a visit.
Oh,
No
well,
other way.
as you say then. As you
How-
say, well,
You know any other ways to get south?
oh, well, no, not really, but there ain't much going south these days. No coming north. Whole road's been cut. I think there's some kind of blockade down there, to keep out the barbarians, to stop the storm, as it were.
Aye. So Moog shares a pint with him, and
That's the spirit.
then thanks for your information and good luck. And
A measly pint? 1 pint for a fella? Do you take me for a child?
then grabs the keg from the beer, the pigs.
Now
hands it.
we're talking.
Artisan holds a pint but can't drink it.
Moog drinks yours
Huh.
and heads off.
They say the
what is your
Scythians
name?
down there don't know what they're doing there, but they brought them all the way up from the coastline. I'm Axarar, Simeon Axarar.
Who would that be?
Simeon Axarar. Is Axarar an old name that I would know?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, you would have heard of the Axarars. Yeah, sure.
Where they be?
What's the what? I don't understand the question.
What did he say? What did he say? I didn't. Hear that.
They are dwarves from an old family.
Aye.
Yeah.
With a 27 history check, can I know what their family did or does?
They made axes.
So that's
Nice.
his clan.
Yeah,
what
that's
his name
right.
is. All right. Well, pleasure. Happy hunting. We'll be on our way.
Aye, and you too. Steer clear of anyone that's got blue eyes.
Were they named after the fact that they make axes, or did they start making axes because they had axe in their name?
Well, it just so turns out that the word axe is a dwarven word that has been adopted into common. And so it's a bit difficult to... Maybe they were the first to invent the axe.
There you go.
There we go.
So we're going to be meeting some barbarian king.
A barbarian king.
So we load up.
So we load up and head off. Yep, cool. All right. So, Finnick, can you roll a D100, please? Very cool. So we get down to Shadowdale, and it's a small town of a few hundred people with a strong magical tradition and some pretty interesting eccentric characters. But we are just passing through, right? There's nothing that that really interests us about this place.
Unless we wanted to try to enchant old boy stuff here, but other than that, no.
I think time. We need to take advantage of the time.
Yeah, then I'd guess not. And, is there a notice board to see what's going on in the town?
There is actually. I'll go and bring that up.
Just as we're passing through, I want to take a look at it.
So it's mostly local stuff. A couple of kidnappings, a couple of specialist jobs like an exorcism right here in the middle of town, but it doesn't really have much to do with anything outside of Shadowdale itself. All right. So I'm trying to work. I'm trying to think ahead of time while we're going now. Trying to get in my head what's coming up and what's where. And I know where. I have some vague idea, but I may have to import the information from another campaign, possibly. That's I couldn't really know what we'd be doing today, and so that's kind of my excuse. Uh, let's see. But we do travel for several days without any major incidents, and at last, after how many days? 5, 6. Um, yeah, after 5 or 6 or 7 days, we enter the vicinity of Thorndale, and we see the signs up ahead. Um, now entering Thorndale. What do we do about that?
I'd give it a wide berth. Is there a way to give it, like, go all the way around the town and not anywhere near it?
It's probably ranching country around here, and most of this place is, so grassland. So all we'd have to do is take our wagon off road and into the grass, and wagons are obviously made for this kind of treatment. They don't like it, but they can pull it. And we go around the centre of town, and town is not much. There's a handful of houses, half a dozen houses, and the only building of any notice has no walls. The open air pub, the Minotaur's Rest, as it's known, the Minotaur's Rest has no walls. It's just a roof supported by a bunch of poles, and there's a large pit in the middle at the bottom. And even from 1,000 feet away, or however wide we give the wider berth we give this place, we can see the blue fire burning in that pit 1,000 feet away.
Still burning from however long ago Moog went through.
No people around.
No people, no dogs, no ducks, no chickens.
I want to send my bird up and start flying the perimeter, along with my still defender doing a perimeter around us within 120 feet, just so I can have a constant read on what's going on around us.
Sure.
In case, like, a flaming wolf runs out of the woods or something like that.
Sure, yep. There's no beasts in the vicinity that you notice, but there are spot fires of this blue flame burning on the sides of trees and buildings and puddles and so on.
Would I be able to do a perception check?
Yeah, go ahead.
Would it be with advantage since I have 3 sets of eyes?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there's no animals around, but there are small spot fires of the blue flame.
Are there any blue flames in our path that I can tell?
You'd be able to avoid them, and so if you spot a rock or a small bush that's on fire, you give it a 100-foot berth, and you remain safe from its influence.
I guess unless anyone else wants to do something, we keep going.
Flame doesn't seem to be affected by the wind. All right, let me look. Yep.
Let's get far from this place.
Let me look for a file and see if I can bring it in. And if I don't find it fairly quickly, then I will just
Improvise?
I'll just improvise. Yeah. But I will have a quick look, see if I can find it.
Me doing 3 lesser restoration things.
Yeah, so give me a few minutes. Probably will be fruitless, and I apologize for that, but I'll try.
Would a plant count as a creature in a disease situation like this?
They tend to, yeah, they usually do.
I kind of want to burn my bird and just not have it touch any of us, and land by the bush and do a lesser restoration on it and see if that would work, just so we would know.
Pilot. Experimenting
Yeah.
might not be the
can I-
best plan here. Experiment if we get sick.
Well,
Don't need
I'd
to
like to
touch
know if
those.
that would work. You know,
Get your bird sick and you come back here.
I could keep it 120 feet away.
If bird gets sick, it's shunned from the party.
Well, it's also immune to disease. I can also see if it would contract it.
This be a
And if so, I
magic.
could just
People be flying, and this is be a magic plague.
Well, yeah,
This is
but
your
if it does catch it, I can just and if it shows signs of it immediately, I'll just end the infusion. If it doesn't show any signs, I'll quarantine it.
How would you know? And why don't you just go over there and lick the plant?
I'm 120 feet away from it.
I know, but we're playing science experiment.
Also, if the bush or whatever just stops burning, we would know that it's able to be stopped by lesser restoration. I feel like it's worth it instead of like giving someone one of our lesser restoration potions if they do it, knowing it won't work, or not knowing if it would work.
Go play with your fire boy.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah, I'll send my bird over and cast lesser restoration on a bush with it.
Alright, it does not affect the spell it does not affect the fires at all, except to fuel them momentarily. It's as if the blue flames that are emitting from the tree eat your spell.
Does it seem like my bird is affected at all?
Do you put your bird into the fire?
Has to touch it.
I do have to touch it. Well, he has to touch it.
Yep, so the bird goes into the fire?
Can he touch the part of the bush that's not on fire?
Yep, and nothing happens when you don't expose yourself to the flames.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you expose yourself to the flames?
No.
Alright. Alright. Yes, yes. In 2 separate campaigns, they've voluntarily contracted this disease recently. Like it's become quite popular.
That's hilarious.
Phenomenal cosmic power.
Exactly. Exactly. And it turns out that I have found the script I'm looking for. I haven't read it yet, but I have found it. So that's pretty amazing. I probably wrote this 2 years ago, so that was pretty fortuitous. So we're wandering into storms. The further we go south, the darker the clouds get. The clouds really seem to be gathering not that far away, only 100 miles or so towards the south. So they're really gathering down there and getting quite dark. We go around this town, and we don't give it much more thought, do we? Like we're done with Thorndale once we've gone around it, or are we still investigating the plague?
Let's be
That's
done
all
with
I
it.
would wanted to do. Yeah, I just want to leave.
Yeah.
Giddy up, horsey.
As we set up our camp that night, another 5 or so miles down the road, we realize that we are not alone on this road. Only a few miles in front of us, in the south, the direction that we're heading, someone else has set up a small camp on the road, just the same as us. It's a relatively straight road in this country, more or less, rises and falls with hills. But yeah, only a couple of miles away, just on dusk, you'll see the smoke rising, and as the dusk turns into twilight, you start to see the glow of the fire. Another small camp, not unlike our own, but there's no sign that they have any wagons.
Are they within the quarantine area, or are they outside of it?
How big's the quarantine area?
From what we know, there's just a checkpoint at the section to Moonsea.
That's right, and we haven't reached that point yet. We're not at that point yet. So I guess that makes us in the quarantine area, right?
Yeah.
No? Yes? No? I'm not
yeah,
sure.
Yeah. From
I
what
guess
we know,
we're in the quarantine. Yeah. So I guess that means that they are too.
Fuck that.
So we're south of Thorndale on the road before it connects to the Moonsea Ride.
That's exactly right. We're down here. All right, so you camp during the night, and no further. You're not disturbed. There's no wolves that come out and bite us, and no bandits that try to hit us or anything like that. But in the next morning, we will see that the camp of people are still there. They are packing up at about the same speed, about the same pace that we are. Their entourage seems to be relatively similar in size to ours, but far less well equipped.
And I send my bird over and look from afar and see if any of them are covered in blue flames.
He doesn't notice any.
Still equipped in basically no man's land right now. Does anyone plan on engaging with them?
We could drive by and give them a wide berth.
Well, before we pack up and move and whatnot, I was actually wanting to investigate our suspicious package.
Oh, sure, absolutely. So it's a coffin. The coffin has been nailed into place, and it is protected with runic seals.
I've also arcane locked it.
I didn't get any kind of ping of undead or evil off of it.
No, nor elemental nor fey.
I'm not really a scholar of arcane, so I wouldn't know what these runes might mean.
Absolutely. Yeah, tell me what number you get. I'll be on a different page. What was your result? Sure.
Might as well. Can't do much worse than a 2, except another 2.
It's pretty bad.
You can add another 3 with Flash of Genius. 17.
And what was the question? I've somehow forgotten already. They're fakes. They're forgeries.
I just kind of like, really? They're fake? They look pretty legit to me. And it's like nailed shut.
Yeah, that's right. Like it's like a coffin, and the nails are in the coffin. Literally.
Alright, well, I assume, like, Artisan, being a crafter, probably has something like a claw hammer on him.
No doubt.
So I'm just
Open
gonna...
it up.
Yeah, I'm not going to be secretive about it. I'm just going to straight up ask you for a claw hammer so I can start prying it open.
No, fam, no.
Is there any cracks in it?
No, it's a brand new coffin.
And then, like, really small ones that maybe an ant could fit through?
Or maybe an ant. Yeah, probably an ant. Yeah.
So, like, if I find an ant and cast Beast Sense on it, could I pass it through into the thing?
Yeah, alright. Yeah, alright, sure.
Is Sildaharan cool with you doing that? Just saying.
I'm going to be hiding in my wagon and cast that on an ant and then send it without anybody knowing I'm doing it.
Alright.
It's just a random ant climbing into it.
It's a good
I'll
question,
cast Dark
though.
Vision on the ant and then...
The ant has, like, always felt like an outsider when it was growing up in the hive, and it never really knew its place, but it always felt that there was a greater destiny in store for this particular ant. It always believed that one day the gods would come along and would give it a sacred quest, and this day has finally come. And so That's
Time has
right.
come, ant.
Yeah,
Tell me what's
time
in the
has come.
box.
Exactly. He is a GI ant. Anyway, never mind. He goes in and comes out. They go in. They come out. They are androgynous, and they tell you that there's stuff in there.
I've got Beast Sense so I can see through the eye.
Oh, so you can see through the eyes. Oh, okay. Well, it's like one of those. It's like looking through colon cam. You're at the camera at the end of a thing, right? And you're going inside the tomb. There is a bow. There is a set of boots. There's a sword and a shield and an axe. They all look elven, runed, and otherwise Mick. These are nice pieces of gear, elven gear.
Since we know what's in it now, so it doesn't really matter, but I guess for future reference, would Arcane Lock prevent it from going in?
Only if it doesn't have any gaps, like okay. Yeah, and if it's just wood sealed on wood, I can imagine an ant getting in there somehow, right? Like maybe not, but this one does. It doesn't create a seal where one doesn't already exist. Yeah.
Yes, finally.
Well, it says like a closed door, window, gate, chest, or other entryway.
Yeah, and that's what it does. Yeah, it's
Okay.
It'd probably make it like hard to part the lid from the coffin, but if you bypass the lid entirely, if you're an ant, I don't think it would.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think we as a party know at this point, because I don't think Finnick has told anyone.
Good point. So yeah, Finnick, it appears to be a large number of elven artifacts.
Oh, that's my info now.
Yeah, not knowing that Finnick has already figured out what's inside, and still continuing to pester Artisan for a claw hammer.
Ha!
Guess I'll walk over and say we should respect their wishes and like invite the paladin to come over with me.
Ha!
To respect whose wishes?
The wishes of the person who wants it sealed.
Well, if we're transporting some sort of evil artifact, I wouldn't have any part of it.
Yeah. You already detected good and evil on it too.
I did, but I don't think objects typically radiate good or evil.
Which elf is Eleanor? Or is Eleanor not an elf? What race is Eleanor? Ah, okay, so I'm just going to go out on a whim here and say it's Celestial. Do you understand this language?
I do understand Celestial, yeah.
I'll just say it's a bunch of... I'll just describe the contents to the Paladin and Celestial then. Take the chance that no one else in the party understands Celestial, so that maybe the elf who just who might be working for them doesn't know that we know.
That's a good point.
The people that gave the oaths don't know.
How does Sildarin react as we discuss trying to open the box?
In Celestial?
The bit before in common where the paladin's like, "Get me my hammer, it's time to smash this thing."
Well, not smash it, but to pry the nails out of it so I can look what's inside.
Well, not much. It's only talk at this point.
Alrighty, well, after Finnick speaks something in Celestial, I'll nod my head and take their word for it. And cease my attempts to open the box.
And it's proud that he scared off a person who's stronger than him.
Well, I don't know, now you've got a cloak of displacement, you're practically invulnerable.
Ha!
Oh yeah.
True that.
Like, sure, I can deal a lot of damage with a smite, but I have to hit you first.
And I think when I do hit with a 1 in 400 chance, you can then use the Steel Defender to intervene, and can that, like, cause
Yeah.
it to miss?
Yeah.
Well, you're already making attacks with disadvantage.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if it helps or not.
Yeah, you can't get double disadvantage.
No, right.
Yeah, Steel Defender is now for other people.
Right. Yeah, okay, so back to the coffin.
Yeah, after hearing Finnick say something in Celestial, I'll cease my attempts to open it and be ready to move on.
Alright. Move on we do then. Move on we do. As we get closer to the conjunction between the two roads, we find two landmarks that are kind of impossible to miss. The biggest by far of the two is Gundarak Hill, but it's also the furthest away. Gundarak Hill, not on our map, is around about here, maybe near the bottom of the M in Moonsea, or something like that. It's over here anyway. And Gundarak Hill's about 200 feet tall, so it's not a particularly large hill, but it's the only hill in the immediate vicinity. And it is lined from base to tip with tents. Tents of two very different varieties. Some of them are fur tents that look savage and held up with poles of bone, and are designed for really cold areas. Whereas the other ones are colourful and modern and have a carnival theme to them. Total juxtaposition between these two tents. The furry ones are higher up the hill than the marquees. But you can see countless people, scores and scores of people climbing over that hill, walking and getting their lunches and going on their patrols and having their beers and so on. You can see this from a pretty fair way away, a couple of miles away. You can vaguely make this out, very vaguely. It's raining, but the rain is quite light. And as the rain eases a bit further, you can see all these people, some of them in fur, some of them wearing colourful garland clothes, up on a hill. But significantly closer, only about a mile or so away, 2 miles maybe at most, you see a blockade. Now, the blockade, interestingly enough, is directed away from you. It appears to be a blockade that is preventing people from going from south to the north. What about people coming from the north to the south? Well, I guess not many people do that.
Who'd be dumb
The
enough to do
blockade,
that?
yeah. The blockade probably has a dozen people or so, and their armor glints even in the dim sun of a rainy day.
Can we tell whether the fur-clad people are mixing with the brightly clothed people, or are they two separate groups?
Yeah, make perhaps a perception check or an insight. Yeah. And I'll come back to it. 30 high. Fucking hell. You both got 30s. You both got 30. My goodness.
What kind of shit is that?
That is nuts. All right. So we'll start with the hill then. Are they mixing? Not very well. It appears that they are mixing involuntarily. The fur-clad men who are taller than the colourful men appear to be lording it over the smaller ones who are slightly further down the hill, and they don't seem to be getting along particularly well at all. But they do seem to be part of the same community. They might drink at different tents, but they're both drinking and they're both eating from the same roast boars and so on. So they both share the same hill, and so yeah, their relations don't seem to be close, but they are associating with each other. The colourful people are Sembians. Sembia is a merchant kingdom to the south. It's the rival of Cormyr. Cormyr is the country that might fall apart due to civil war. Some people say Sembia are behind it. Those bastards.
Yeah.
Which one is Eleanor? Sempian or
Cormyr.
Cormyrian? Okay.
The fur-clad people are Northmen, they call them, very simply. They come from a land called the Beastlands of Thar, where hobgoblins are as likely to rule society as humans are. They are Talos worshippers. They worship the god of storms, the god of destruction, which is probably pretty, perhaps, marginally interesting, at least for Sildurin. Certainly not your god, but Talos is a much more powerful, much more prominent, much more universal storm god of this world. Might not be able to compare to your god in the grand scheme of metaphysics, but here in Faerun, he is the top dog of the storms.
Certainly intriguing.
So, about 200 people, give or take, maybe give or take 200, I suppose. 200 people or so up on the hill. A combination of northern Talos worshippers and southern Sembians. The blockade appears to all be Sembians, and there's about a dozen of them, and the blockade is set up in the opposite direction to you, though it's inevitable they're going to spot you. They probably already have, since we got 3 freaking wagons. It's easier for them to spot us than for us to spot them. And the Moonsea Ride, just a few miles away. What do we do?
I mentioned that I've encountered these Northmen before when I first went up north to the Dales with Mara, and they successfully managed to shake us down. That they seem to be people of the worst sort, raiders, pillagers, and whatnot.
So we may want
Bedfellows for the
to.
Symbians.
We may want to avoid the checkpoint.
I'm not sure how they will react when we pass by.
The area... Yeah, exactly. And the area around here is particularly swampy. They've chosen, a good spot. And if you don't take the road, you'll be walking through areas that have become wetlands. It's been raining all summer and all fall. And so it's not impossible. But it's not going. You won't be going around grasslands like we did in Thorndale. We'll be going through marshland.
We'll bog down the carts.
Literally.
Yes, let's just pass by. If they stop to stop us for any reason, we'll deal with it.
Wants to gain some XP.
That doesn't necessarily mean to deal with it that way, but we'll deal with it.
Even from 1,000 feet away, which we presumably get shortly after having that discussion, they call out more than 300 meters. They call out, "The road is closed! Turn back!"
By whose authority?
By the Council of Sembia's authority! And the words of Master Benoit.
Benoit. That
Yes.
sounds familiar.
Yes, he is someone like a noble would know. Benoit is a wine merchant who is one of the main movers and shakers in Sembia. Essentially, if you drink alcohol in Sembia, then he's probably made money off it somehow.
I'll
So he
respond
probably
and
only
say-
has these guys some pay. They could probably
Yeah.
bribe them.
I'll respond and say, this is the Dale Lands. Sembi has no authority here.
No, 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 no! You are in the Dale Lands! We are in the Protectorate of Gloriana!
The what?
The Protectorate of Gloriana! A new kingdom that was founded by the Cormyrians but was overthrown by the people of the north. King King Gundarak? He is now in charge here.
So he's claiming lands in other territory.
It has already been conquered. The Cormyrians have gone. It is now open for the taking and has been taken. Absolutely. Yeah, he, as if to clear it up further, he says, for if Cormyr can claim this realm, why cannot Sembir as well? He seems to be genuine about it, and the fact that there's an army up on that hill kind of backs up his claim somewhat.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, that being, I guess, go ahead and whisper it. They're pretty far away. I think they'll hear it. You can try it. Mine was going to be my approach was going to be more direct. I was basically going to say that I don't recognize their authority. All right, then I'll reply back with my full noble title and say that I don't recognize your authority, and I believe these lands to still be Cormyrian. So I demand you let us pass.
No, 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 ma'am. They are not Cormyrian anymore. Gloriana has been withdrawn, and Lord Rosalyn, Count Rosalyn, no longer rules here. If you knew your current affairs, you would know that with the death of the king, all Cormyrian interests have likewise died. This is free country now, and it has been claimed by King Halgar the Grim and his friends in Sembia. No, you cannot. You don't understand. This is for your own good. There is a plague, and we cannot have the plague spreading to further lands south. It would be a humanitarian crisis. You must turn back. What has the fire knives got to do with anything? Are you fire knives? Where are your daggers?
I don't believe so.
Make a deception check at disadvantage because like that shouldn't get you past, but who knows?
Of course.
But he then he lifts up his garment and shows you his fire knife and says, "I will not stop the fire from spreading." All right, and the Cormyrians are willing to, the Sembians are willing to let you pass.
Yeah, I was getting ready to have to force our way through, but
All right. Do we deliberately give Gundarak Hill a wide berth?
well, if they're letting us pass, I would want to know more about what happened here, like this king that they mentioned and whatnot.
Yes, King Halgard the Grim. He has come down from the north, and he is searching for some kind of relic. It is called the Broken Heart of Talos.
I see.
He thinks that it will make him into a god.
And he claims this land as his own, does he?
Yes, and there might be, perhaps there is something to it. For I have never known Master Benoit to make a bad investment.
You said he claims. Does that mean you don't believe it is such?
Well, I am just a soldier. I do not understand the ways of magicians and treasure hunters and elven curses and such. This is meant to be a broken heart of a god, but how can you find it? And it is said that you must cut your own heart out and replace it with the broken heart, but that is not making any sense to me at all. It will kill you to do this.
And what became of the citizens of this land?
There were never many to begin with, I am thinking. It was always, frontier country. They identify as the Dalelander, but they are very far from the Dales. Distant cousins, I think that when the Cormyrians came here, they were not particularly well received in the first place. More like overlords, not really welcome. But now they are gone. And it is back to the way things are now. Except for Helgrim the Grim is bringing in some order to this place.
The Order of Barbarians, perhaps.
Where are they
yes,
searching
well,
for this heart?
It is thought to be. Wait a minute. I suppose I could tell a fellow Fire Knight. It is thought to be in the Stonelands. There is a property belonging to a family called Diorale, and it is. It was he that who was said to have found it long ago.
Hmm.
Can I do like a history or something along those lines to see about what I know of the Dorale and what lands they hold, or where, if he found something, where he would probably keep it?
Yeah, go ahead, make a history check. Yeah, it'll just be stories and tavern tales and so on, but.
Try that as well.
That's not an advantage.
I know nothing.
Alright. And
You can use your inspiration if you wish. Sildarin, you've got a free D20 roll, and we're coming to the end of the session, so it's up to you.
Sure. Moderately better.
That's better. You've heard a red-headed lass, a woman who could really hold her isle, tell you this story.
is it just the story that he just said, or any further information?
Sorry, I shared it in Roll20. A bit of a spiel there.
Does the stone lands mean anything to me as to where that is?
Yeah, the Stonelands are quite close. Are we up? We're up on the big map, aren't we? Yeah, cool. This is the Stonelands, just west of Tilverton. Yeah, they're not on the map, are they? Yeah, I thought they were. Essentially, yeah, just west of Tilverton is where the Stonelands begin. So not far away.
Overton was one of the places that the lady said to go to first.
I guess we're heading that direction anyways. These barbarians must be claimed a fair bit of territory if they got an army all the way out here and they're all the way west of Tilverton.
Yeah, and I'm pretty visibly upset about it.
Your Cormyria is out, I heard earlier.
Yeah. Hearing that barbarians, with the aid of opportunistic Sembians, have conquered a portion of what used to be Cormyria land. Possibly.
Leaving the people of Cormyr to the mercies of northern savages. Doesn't sound like a great thing to do.
Exactly. Like if as soon as we end this conversation with the Sembian, I'd probably make my outrage clear. I'd also take a good look at the encampment on the hill and try to size it up.
Yeah, about 200, I think. But I'll give you maybe some better. First of all, I might describe these guys. I haven't described them yet. These are professionals. They are grenadiers, so they use literal grenades. Pretty much brand new technology. People have been firing cannons for quite a while. To actually carry around personal explosives is revolutionary, and some would say quite foolish. So each of these guys carries 2 grenades to them. Sembian grenadiers, elite troops. Up on the hill, up on Gundarak Hill itself, there are at least 200 crossbows, another 100 armored Sembians, another 100 raiders belonging to the barbarians. So their force is in the hundreds, 400, maybe 500 people. Pretty serious.
And they're primarily Sembian.
Yeah, probably more Sembians than barbarians. But there's large numbers of both.
Hmm. Well, we definitely can't take on
Grenades and
500
close
men.
quarters.
As much as I want to, I don't think we can take on 500 men. Yeah. Yeah, my outrage is great, but I'm also not suicidal.
If this artifact does exist, allowing a conquering barbarian king to gain control of it, also probably not a great result.
Yeah, I would suggest that if taking on the entire army is obviously impossible, but if it was possible to perhaps some sort of night raid where we assassinate the king and then escape, rather than having to kill every single one of them, maybe that could work. What? Well,
Deja vu, like we've been here before.
Well, the king's in the west, right? That's what he said.
Trust me, I'm not happy about it
A
either.
little shell shock.
I think for the time being, we should focus on our mission at hand, and if that comes up in the future, we can go for it.
Yeah, I do have to agree. As much as I want to intervene, I don't think we're in any position to do so. And we won't be helping anybody by getting ourselves killed.
You never know. We might have to do some side missions with an army before we can march it all the way up.
And then if we do get killed, they now have 500 pounds of adamantine and mithril to help their further exploits.
Yeah. If circumstances were different, then I'd definitely be all for it, but we just don't have what it takes to take on 500 dudes. Perhaps when we have some forces of our own, we might be able to consider it. But until then,
Level 12 Raw is walked around the corner. Ready to blow shit up.
Also, the fact that there's slightly more Sembians than barbarians tells me that, like, what I think has happened is that the barbarians have come here in search of their broken heart, and the Sembians have used that as an excuse to move in as well.
Sounds pretty Sembian to me.
There's nothing more than, like, if I could, I'd want to rally, like, some Cormyrian soldiers and retake this land, but given that Cormyr is in a state of civil war right now, that's not going to happen. So, yes, I suppose we will have to do nothing, unfortunately.
Smile and wave.
Smile and wave,
Press on to
boys.
Tilverton.
Smile and wave.
We carry on from here on our way to whatever, the Tilverton or something like that.
I think that's our destination.
Eye to Tilverton.
Alright. On to
Definitely going to
Tilverton.
make a note of it, though. Note to self, drive out the barbarians in this area.
Hellfire and brimstone.
Alright. So we go in the opposite direction to Gundarak Hill and deeper into the realm briefly known as Gloriana, a Cormyrian realm which has only lasted a season or so and fell soon after, lasted a year maybe. And I think we'll probably just about call the session here. I know it's a couple of minutes early, but that's probably a good time to call it. As Tilverton comes into view, for it is a phenomenon, and nothing can really prepare you for what you see. The town once had in excess of 10,000 people, so it's much bigger than any of the Dales or anything that we've seen so far. It's not a huge city by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a substantial town. And the outside buildings have been demolished. They've just been obliterated. They have been flattened and reduced to the thatch of roofing and the structure of wooden walls, and it's all just flattened over and broken. And the heart of Tilverton, where some 10,000 people live, is encased within a dome. This monumental black dome that spreads over perhaps a half a mile, maybe a mile in diameter, half a mile or a mile, I don't remember, and comes up to a height of perhaps about 300 feet at its apex. And this huge, dark, concave dome blocks not vision, but it creates a transparent glass that is like looking through sunglasses. It's a tint, this heavy tint, and you're looking into the city of Tilverton, encased within this dark snow globe. And you've got the option of just going right around it and avoiding it by miles if you want.
Where
Does
the
it look
dwarf?
like this damage occurred?
I say that again. What? How does it? How?
How long ago does it look like it happened? Like, is it still
Right.
smoking? Or
No. It's been several days since this happened. Several days. Though not a lot of people come through these places, not with the plague and all, barbarians aside. And it looks like horses have been here as recently as today, yesterday. There's horse hoof tracks along the road and in the mud. But notably, none of those hoof tracks come anywhere near Tilverton. They don't come within a mile of the place, that's for certain. Not within
So
10 miles.
are the dwarves in Tilverton?
No, there are not dwarves in Tilverton. We'll find them up here in the Stormhorns.
Okay. So do we need to
Does it-
drop our precious cargo off at Tilverton? Is that what?
No. No, we have no quest whatsoever in Tilverton, and it looks like Tilverton has been destroyed.
All right. Let's
Does it look like the walls have fallen, or only the outside?
Not inside, the ones outside. So imagine like the dome has been preserved if put into a dark glass, and the outside has just been flattened and blown outwards as if there was an explosion in Tilverton that sent them in every direction outwards.
Hmm.
we need to be making our way to the dwarves post haste. We're almost there.
Yeah, I'm fine with heading out.
Bypass the death dome.
All right, and we head down and reach up with the road that'll take us up into the dwarven settlements. And at last, still a couple of minutes left, so we might as well keep going now since we've avoided Tilverton. And at last, you come to a dwarven settlement, which kind of marks the border of Cormia proper now. Border used to be Tilverton, or even used to be Gloriana, but technically this is kind of the logical border now, since something of a no man's land south of Tilverton. And when we arrive, the dwarves have deliberately pulled down the Cormirian flag. And there is currently a town declaration being made on this, the first day of Harndorf's independence.
Brilliant
I'd
idea.
say so.
Brilliant idea. It's a sign. It's a sign that that the gods and history herself have conspired to declare this day holy, this day of independence holy. And so we are received by the dwarves with grandeur and fanfare and a large dose of destiny. See you all soon.
That was as well of a sign off as I've ever heard.